Hello, welcome to Tangerine Fake Dialogue.
Tangerine! Yeah.
We need there has to be a way to figure out how to make a way for us to randomly be having a conversation, but also
Yeah.
have timestamps for the podcast thing.
Yeah.
Par.
I don't know what the best way to do it unless you just have like a recording environment that loads like I feel like as well like if it could like load the videos in a way that you could like sort them or like see what you're doing without the recording software picking up or something. I don't know. I have thoughts but no real solutions.
So as tradition, This is Steam Next Fest for summer 2023.
Yeah.
As tradition, I just talk about the general state of the Steam Fest over some games I wasn't interested in. This is Crazy Zen Golf. It's shit.
You're
Don't play
saying it
it.
wasn't very zen.
It was. It. I wrote down awful control shit game. That's what I wrote down
Yeah.
for this. And you just like jump over shit, and it wasn't very interesting. But I thought I played a couple of VR things again. I like how this year they just like straight up just. I don't know if they did this last time, but the VR section was just like removed from the Steam Demo Fest.
Because that's the category.
Yeah, it just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
They were just like, yeah, no one's making or playing VR demos. Let's just get rid of this shit. But I played a couple, and yeah, they weren't great. Somebody's got to be playing this stuff to weed out the bad stuff and find the good stuff. And I did find some good stuff, so there is some interesting stuff to talk about.
Okay.
Some of the stuff I saw at like the E3 we just had, some was from like previous E3s I wanted to try out. Some was just like random shit. Okay, so this is Demonic Supremacy. I needed to talk about this game because I played it and I was like,
Yeah.
this may be the worst game I've ever played. It
Right.
is so fucking bad. Okay, I don't know if you noticed this. Let me go back for a second here. So this is an FPS game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And hang on. Does it say it on this part?
Stop exciting to restore.
No, yeah, at the top. Do you notice anything about the top
While
dialogue?
driving, press left shift to accelerate. What?
You're not driving in this game. You're walking around.
What? Those
Yeah.
are so accelerated just to store the energy.
Because I downloaded this and I was like, how did I even download this? I was like, how did I even think this was a real game? Like, but it must have had like some crazy good. I think it had like good art on like the
Right.
initial page.
Well,
and I was
the
like,
demon,
oh.
the demon on the title screen looks fine.
And I was like, oh yeah, this is a real game. But I think this is one of the worst things I've ever done. While driving, press left shift to accelerate. Driving. At the very first thing in the tutorial, the text like completely just puts you off the entire thing. Like the camera controls like a drunk person. It's the easiest way to describe it.
Okay. Why is it flashing?
It's like a floaty, blurry mess. It's so hard to describe how poorly this controls and feels. I thought, oh, you know, it's like going to be a demonic like boomer shooter. I go into this thing and it's like an asset Unity flip of like just the worst quality ever. I couldn't believe this was like a real thing. I guess it's just in the Steam Demo Fest, but yeah. Like, even getting to the point where I could press the tutorial button to get to the next thing, I was, like, struggling. This is how you dash?
Yeah, it uses up your green goo.
And I wanted to...
Well, you played this for almost 10 minutes.
Yeah, you're supposed to dash around and avoid these enemies.
Wait, do you not attack? Or is this
no, well, this is just the tutorial. Okay. You get guns. Well, the thing is, the internet went down for my entire village, and I was like, oh, I've got a bunch of Steam demo downloaded. I'll play them, and this was one of them I downloaded, and I felt like I was going insane. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Did an open reach van like ride into a telephone pole? What's going on?
I don't know what happened. There was some sort of demonic ritual happened, and then demonic supremacy was born. Holy! I'll show you the gameplay. Hang on, I'll skip the tutorial.
See my gun. Okay, the guns are huge. What is that? Is that just like a giant guy outside the arena?
So then after the tutorial, you're in like a dragon boss fight, and I had no idea if I was doing any damage. There was no like damage indicators other than like some weird blood spots. So I was just, there's no like health bar that I could tell off for the boss.
Yeah, be it like a HUD element or even just like showing a wounded enemy.
So I just, this is the gameplay of the game. It's fucking awful.
Is this a Skyrim knockoff Dragonite? What's going on?
I was like, am I doing damage? Am I taking damage? What is happening?
So is those springs on the left and right in red your health then?
I don't know.
Because the green bar at the bottom is definitely stamina or energy.
Yeah, it's a weird stamina system that just shouldn't exist in the first place.
Yeah.
There's like a button where you can do like a psychic shout for some reason. Oh, here's a rocket launcher.
Consistent, by the way.
I'm assuming these are all like Unity assets somewhere or something like that, because this is just.
Okay, I see they bought a gun pack, they bought a demon, like a creature pack, or a couple of them, and then bought some.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to be too much against buying packs and things. Just like it just seems a bit weird.
Yeah, I think you can do like really good stuff with pre-made assets, but I think
you need to like combine it together and like do your own stuff in between.
This is Glimmer Chain. This is like, it's basically like puzzle platforming, but the platforming was like super slow and clunky. This is another one I just like gave up on. I was like, this is not worth continuing to play.
Okay.
It just felt really awkward to control. It said to use a controller, and I tried to use a controller, and yeah, it didn't work. And I tried with the mouse and keyboard, and it didn't work. It's supposed to be like, if you quickly click, it controls differently to like slowly clicking, and it just didn't work ever for me.
Right.
Not a big fan of this one. Let's move on to something else. Let's move on to VR.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are these all bad ones we're doing at the start?
Mostly bad, I think. But this one's actually the good VR game.
Okay.
And you'll never guess what it is. It is a
Wrestling?
No, what is the one VR game they keep making over and
over? Beat Saber?
Yes, it's a rhythm VR game.
Okay.
But it's with boxing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Boxing? What's this called, sorry?
This is called Box to the Beat.
Box to the Beat.
I didn't have like high expectations going in. I think the voices may even be AI generated. I'm not 100% sure, but I played it and I was like, actually, this is kind of like boxing and it's actually kind of fun. I was surprised. It wasn't complete shit like most of the demos and VR demos that I play. But it is basically another rhythm VR game. I keep saying I don't want to play more VR rhythm games, so then I keep playing them and buying them, so there's that. But the general idea is you have a red glove, a blue glove, and then you hit the golden ones for bonus points, and then there's like a wall that comes along, and then you dodge that. There's me crouching, moving to the side. You get the general idea. I liked the mix of music. There was like rap, there was like electronic, there was some different genres of music I thought were quite good. It was a quite good workout as well, and it seemed to, it at least said it would change how many points you got based on how hard you were hitting. Which is something like when I played Creed, the boxing game, PvP, it was hard to know how much damage your punches were actually doing, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, this is interesting. Maybe not like as exciting as like a. I don't know. Like for me, like the visuals aren't as good as Beat Saber.
But it actually ran pretty well out of the box. It was like surprisingly ran. It ran on my Vive without any problems. I selected it. I selected an index because out of all of these, I tried to see if they had like their listed supported headsets, and if some of them were like didn't support the Vive, I was like, oh fuck it, I'll give it a try.
Okay. So this one worked.
Yeah, it worked for me. Because I think they said it supported.
Oh, this is very like Beat Saber here. Okay.
I'm trying to remember if it said it supported the Vive or not. Because you can't just quickly check anymore. You have to.
Oh yeah, you have to do the stupid like. Oh, they didn't want to tell you explicitly what hardware it runs on. That'd be too easy.
I have to like go into the store page and see if there's like an explicit section where they describe which ones come out. It's supported for, but it didn't really seem like it. I just selected index of the Vive and it seemed to work. It seemed like it had like Quest and other game support, so that was pretty cool.
Is there a third party, I don't know, thing that tells you what platform it runs on, or is it just?
Oh, they should make like a Proton DB for VR games. Yeah, that would be good.
Or just what they had before would be useful.
The problem is like, that would just hook into the API, right? You'd have to manually select it. So it would be like if the community was willing to pitch in and do that sort of thing. But that would be a very useful feature to have, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think I get. Yeah, if you had nothing like this, is what I'm thinking, but I don't know why they changed it.
If for some reason you're looking for another Rhythm VR game, you could go. What's the word I'm looking for? This is okay.
You could go somewhere worse than this. This is free.
Yeah.
I can looking at it, like the impact seemed interesting.
Next up we have DAVIGO, and DAVIGO is interesting because DAVIGO.
DAVIGO.
Yeah, that's what it's called. And DAVIGO has been on my radar for years. I believe it was one of the first VR games on my radar where I don't know if you ever saw it. Someone posted like a video on Reddit and they were like, one person can play on a computer and they can be fighting a giant, and then a person will be playing the giant and then they can be in VR.
Okay.
So I was in VR, so I was like, oh, I will just play the giant, but then I was like, wait a minute, I need someone to play the person. So I was like putting down my VR headset and like moving the person to see how they control with my controller. I needed like I needed another person to play the other person, and then I think eventually I queued up for multiplayer to see how it worked.
Okay.
To mixed results.
Okay.
So this is me going against random people, and I was very confused how I'm supposed to move and control.
Yeah.
Because immediately people came in and they were like running around cranking 90s on me, and I was like, how do I interact with things? It has like a little tutorial sort of like reading tutorial you can do, and I read it, but even after reading that I was still quite confused how to control stuff.
Because before you're picking up trees, right, so you have to pick up terrain?
Yeah, so it said you could like slam the ground and stuff to create like shockwaves and stuff, and I tried doing that and that didn't seem to work at all. The only thing I could really do was throw around rocks, and I was moving way slower than the giants in the trailer as well. Like, I feel like I was moving through mud or jelly. Like, all my actions felt really slow. I don't know if this was... I think this may have been a bug, because I think other people were complaining about this, where for some reason you just... In this beta, you seem to be moving, like, way too slow for some reason.
It's an interesting concept. I assume this is like even better. Like, it's something that makes more sense in VR, but it's something you could do in a normal game as well, right?
Well, it's like that VR
asymmetrical.
game. I don't remember what it's Tagling's Party or something. Tagling's House Party. I believe it's. I think it's Linus from Linus Tech Tip's favorite VR game, and it is essentially a local multiplayer co-op party game where one person plays as a human in a kitchen trying to perform tasks, and there's little people on like controllers who are like miniature size, and they're running around trying to fuck up shit.
Sounds great.
But that's kind of similar-ish vibe to this, except it's more of like a PvP, just straight up like the person on the controller seems to be like playing a fast-paced shooter movement game, and then the person in the VR is just playing the... Well, for me, it was a slow giant that was very confused. I don't even know how you win the game. I was very confused. Like, one thing I was struggling with, there was not a lot of damage feedback. Like, I couldn't seem to figure out, like, if I was dealing damage to people or...
Do you have health?
I don't know.
Okay.
I was a bit confused as to, like... There's me trying to throw rocks people. I was like, is this damaging people? What's going on?
That didn't look like it. Did you ever do the slapping of the ground with your hand?
I tried to. Nothing seemed to happen. Apparently you can grab people as well. I tried to grab people, but that didn't seem to work either. I think this is like a third beta it's been through, because apparently there's like a Patreon or a Kickstarter or something that you can do to get early access to this, but this seems very early access from what I played. It seemed like a lot of people who were playing as the not the giant knew exactly what they were doing, and I just came in and I was like, I have no idea what's happening. So I'd like more clear feedback on like when you're actually damaging or interacting with players. A structured tutorial would be nice, but obviously this is one that's going to be one to look at for the future, because right now it's kind of in a not a great state.
It's an interesting premise, I suppose, but maybe it's just I guess small team. Is this like a one-man team? Like what? Do you know anything about it? Okay.
I think there's always one VR player, and usually against like 4 other players.
Right.
And the idea is you have to try and crush them. I think it's had like custom maps as well, but I only tested out. I think there was like limited stuff for the beta, perhaps. Like I think I hit him there with the rock, but I have no idea how much health he has.
I'm more curious about your own health, because surely the whole point is they're meant to kill you, so surely it's very important.
Yeah.
There's no other goals, right? Like, so.
Next up we have Mini Golf Aeons. And yeah, it had Vive support, so there's that. And I did say I wanted a golf game where you had support for both controllers, because whenever I played Walkabout Mini Golf, you always use one controller, right? Because then you can put your second hand on the golf club and swing it like a golf club. But whenever I play, I always want to point at things with my other hand, just to feel like I'm still immersed. What they did was it was still only on one hand, but the other hand was used for like teleporting.
Right. Okay.
I just think that this is not very well made. Didn't seem very good. Some of my big complaints were the ball physics was just weird. It just stopped rolling all the time, and then it would, if you hit it, it was like you would hit it a little bit and then it would go like nowhere. So you'd hit it harder and then it would go flying. And it's not copium. Like, I'm not just bad at golf. I mean, but the physics did genuinely feel really weird.
Okay.
And also, you need to hold down the grip button to take a shot. But holding down the grip button like teleports you over the ball, so you can be like looking at the ball about to take a shot, right? And you're about to take the shot, but you're not holding the grip. And then you push the grip, and the grip like subtly teleports you, but slightly off. It's hard to explain, but it was like it kept it every time you took a shot, it would like throw you off. It was really not a great experience.
There wasn't someone messing with you.
Okay. Yeah. If you're already over the ball, it just throws you the fuck off. Like it's so annoying. Like I would rather this just use one controller, honestly. Because I didn't find having the second controller not physically rendered in the world that useful.
Yeah. In my mind, like the perfect way to have it is that somehow you could have, like, the controllers would be your hands, and then like you could actually physically grip onto something somehow. That's exactly what you see in the game, but I don't know how you would do that.
So did you see it there?
Yeah.
I'll show it. Like I go to take a shot, and then I have to hold down the grip, and it slightly moves you to actually take the shot, and it just throws you the fuck off. Yeah. It was so annoying.
But it looked like to me as well, like the first time it was there, like it wasn't quite, you weren't quite hitting it or something. Like it's like, oh, we put you in the wrong place.
Yeah, so the way it works in Walkabout Mini Golf is your golf club can't interact with the ball until you're looking down and looking at the ball, and then it interacts with it. And this is a really useful system, so you don't accidentally hit the ball, but you don't have to hold down a button to hit the ball. You can just naturally hit it. And the reason I compare it to Walkabout Mini Golf is because Walkabout Mini Golf is just infinitely better than this game. I would just if you're wanting to play a golf game in VR, just play Walkabout Mini Golf. It is so much better than this game that it just doesn't really make sense to buy this game, considering that the actual golf physics are not very good, and Walkabout Mini Golf is still getting map DLCs to this day. So
yeah, but it takes a while to make each map as well. So just like.
My advice: buy Walkabout Mini Golf.
I'm seeing like a theme here. It's like I feel like there's already better beat games. There's already better golf games you could play.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's interesting stuff in the VR. Sure. What was it?
But
no More Rainbows was really good, and that was like we're seeing a lot more games use the Gorilla Tag movement in interesting ways. And I don't feel like I'm looking at those games going, I'll just play Gorilla Tag instead. They're actually offering something new.
Yeah.
This just feels like it's offering a slightly more realistic but worse experience than Walkabout Mini Golf. And I mean, Walkabout Mini Golf is not a bad looking game, it's just more cartoony. But for this, you're not really getting that good of a looking game anyway, but with a lot worse physics. So, yeah. And then I think. Finally, we have Stack.
Stack.
It's like a frisbee PvP game, and I wanted to try this one. The game loaded in with Quest controllers as like the controllers I was holding, and I was like, yes, there's a good chance that means this just won't work on my VR headset if it's already, designed for Quest. Because I think I tried to check the store. I don't know if it specifically said Vive wouldn't work, but I think it was saying it was mostly Quest. So I said, fuck it, I'll try it anyway. And there came a point in the tutorial where it was like, press the A or the X button on your controller for your jetpack. And there is no A or X button on Vive ones, so I could not. So I was soft locked out of the tutorial. But from what I played, it was okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I got
overall
soft locked.
Okay to mediocre.
Yeah, but that was the entire VR section. It was just play walkabout mini golf, just play pistol whip.
Yeah.
I can't play this game because I don't have a Quest, and this game's promising, but it's completely buggy and broken. It just sort of sums up the VR gaming industry, really.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Oh, what a state. Could be so cool.
Let's move on to non-VR, non-shit stuff. Let's move on to some interesting stuff. Let's go. Beyond Sunset. So this is a boomer shooter, Tony.
I'm not. Yeah, why am I not surprised?
Well, I played I don't know if you know this, but I quite like boomer shooters, and I played a couple of them. Do you want to guess what engine it's running in?
Boomer shooter?
Honestly, it's like a 50-50 with boomer shooters.
Well, I haven't seen enough to make any determination yet. So I've got very pixelated. It's just a GIF though.
This is the intro. I might skip it in a second. I'm just gonna find my.
Oh, okay. Is this the engine?
This is the tutorial for the game. Double jumping.
I'm gonna guess it's not Unity.
Okay.
Well,
that's the guess. There's no other engine guess.
No, that.
Okay, so this is GZ Doom. Okay. So it is running in Doom. It's got platforming in Doom, which is not something you see very often.
No, that's what's kind of throwing me
I think I purposely recorded the. This is the menu. I purposely recorded it because there's a very un-GZ Doom menu. I was trying to throw you off.
Not that I really know.
Normally, GZ Doom menus are very easy to spot. They're very archaic looking.
Well, the thing I don't like interact with them or like think about it, so I don't have like much to compare with, so I couldn't have told you either way from the menu.
I got to tell you, it's GZ Doom because my first thought on this game was I wrote down GZ Doom Eternal is an easy way to describe this one. It is very like fast-paced, with like slight RPG elements, and it's sort of you have this recharging melee ability to get ammo and health back from enemies, very like Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, and there's specific enemies that are countered by specific enemies. Very Doom Eternal, Doom 2016. I like this little Wolfenstein section. I thought that was pretty cool.
It's very off-putting compared to the rest of the game. I like the look of the rest of the game. That's very brick.
Yeah, I think it was it's quite a good-looking game. I like the it's like that vaporware sort of neon sunset cyberpunky kind of aesthetic.
Yeah.
It's very like Matrixy in the start, where you sort of just wake up in like a pod, and
cool. There's sprites in those pods.
Yeah, I think they're like 2D sprites. Because it's running on Doom, so they'll have to save some stuff. I mean, although if you've played myhouse.wad, you will be surprised at what you can do in the GZ Doom engine, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts, that mod. But yeah, I love the platforming in this. It feels really good. One of the big complaints about Doom Eternal is that there's sort of mandatory platforming in it, which some people will like, some people will not like. Again, it's very Matrixy. You sort of wake up in a pod. You find out that you're some sort of like genetic specimen, and you go into a lobby with robots, and they won't talk to you because they're like, "Oh, you're just property. I won't talk to you." That's sort of like the setup of the main story is you sort of escaping from this lab. I'll just skip ahead a little bit. Yeah, I'm not authorized to talk to you. There's like light hacking mechanics on, like, you can go through computer terminals, got sort of like light immersive sim elements, I would say.
Yeah.
There's like an upgrade system, so you can upgrade how much health and ammo or armor you have. There's a map system to help you navigate around. I did get lost once and had to look it up where to go, but it's where somebody else exactly got lost on the Steam community, and I found exactly where to go based on the dev's response.
Right. Is that commonplace that people get lost then?
Yeah, I guess if me and somebody else both got lost there.
Like exactly the same place.
Might be something you should change up for the full release.
Yeah. Well, I assume that's one of the reasons why you do these sorts of demos, right?
I'll go forward to some gameplay. I like that the katana is always relevant.
Yeah.
Normally you get like a melee weapon, and it's like usually you use it very early in the game, and then it quickly becomes irrelevant.
Yeah.
But in this game,
like the fallback no ammo weapon.
In this game, it's actually very useful for big mobs of low health enemies that sort of rush you, like melee enemies.
Okay.
And it's also quite useful for when you need to deal with enemies at range but are low on ammo. You can deflect bullets back at enemies with good timing.
So, okay, I don't know if you know the answer to this from the demo, but what are you fighting if, like, in the lobby area, like, they're typical robots? So what are these guys?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Again, so the story is you get like a call from a guy who says, a mysterious guy is like, I'm helping you escape. Do what I say, you need to do this to escape.
Morpheus
and I will tell you more. And you're just like, what the fuck's going on? I don't know what's happening. And that's sort of like the teaser of the demo, I would say. It's sort of just it's a bit open-ended. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess you have to. That's the tease. You have to get the full game to
know
the story.
I would recommend getting this full game. I think it's really fun. I want to skip ahead and show some more, like, there's these big robot guys you can fight.
Oh, no, you actually know if you're hitting them or not. You've got feedback.
Yeah.
Let's imagine that.
They have damage indicators.
Yeah.
There's these dudes with shields, and you need to use the charge shot on the pistol. That's the eternal element coming in, where you have to use different weapons to deal with different enemies.
Yep.
Like I like this game. I always felt like every weapon I had in my arsenal was useful, which is nice to see. Whereas in other games where you have a large pool of weapons, you kind of favor one and you just use that one over and over again.
Yeah.
Which is not always great. Yeah.
I really like the pistol. This is cool.
This is a shotgun. You can't have a boomer shooter without a shotgun. So this is like
the barrel, the barrel ammo holder.
It's like a shell load almost, isn't it?
Yeah, I never know what those are called, but I do like those. They're always very cool. Like a Tommy.
So this is like a platforming section. I think people could easily get lost. Like the platforming's okay. It's not the greatest, but it's fine considering it's running on GZ Doom. I mean, the gold standard of GZ Doom platforming's got to be Golden Souls. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's a Doom mod that essentially turns Doom into Mario. It's pretty hilarious.
Why? Okay. And this for jumping like platform stuff you've shown, but like before, like I thought it looked pretty decent.
Yeah, it's alright.
This looks more confusing to me and less what I'd want to do.
You can find these secret key cards, and then you can go and load them onto terminals in the world, and then loading these up on terminals will unlock different things. Because there's like, it reminds me of not exactly System Shock Cyberspace, but that sort of vibe. I'll see if I can skip to that so I can show you what I'm talking about. Oh, here it is. So I go to access the VR file that I found.
Oh, you called in? Operator?
Yeah, I'm dialing in. I'm jacking in.
And
I'm like,
that's true.
what the fuck? I'm in like Wolfenstein or something, you know, or Hexen or something.
Well, everyone knows the TCP Internet Protocol is Wolfenstein.
I mean, you've got the sins of the people. They've got low sales, got performed poorly.
So this is okay. So this is what
But
the
as part of your escape for the first mission, you have to like hack into the mainframe, and there's like a full like beam puzzle you have to solve in here. This is just the bonus content for a pickup. Like these diamond pickups essentially give you one level up for your health, your armor, or your ammo capacity.
Okay, that's kind of a cool concept. I kind of like that, having like I guess skill points that you like have to earn to get.
This is the area I'm talking about. But there's an ice wall that there's like a not an ice reactor, but like something that is calling the mainframe.
Okay, like a coolant.
Yeah. But inside this VR space, it's represented by like a 2D blocky ice wall, and then once you destroy it in the real world, then it gets destroyed, and you can solve the light beam puzzle. I thought was cool. This is where I got stuck because I went through that platforming section with the plants, and I destroyed all of the generators for the top part, and then I couldn't figure out how to get to destroy the generators for the bottom part to fully destroy the ice generator so I could solve the VR puzzle to escape. So that's when I needed to reload. I needed to pause the recording so I could figure out you have to push that button there to open up the downstairs access to ice maintenance in order to be able to destroy the generators down here.
Yeah, I can see that being a bit confusing. So is there more? Was there just that one, I guess, section where you're like going through the VR?
No, I'll be in this recording. But this is how you...
This is how you get to it.
Yeah, you have to go and basically destroy these generators, and destroying them freezes enemies around you. I thought that was a really cool touch.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Like they shatter into glass when you destroy them.
I am a sucker for environmental effects. Like I do appreciate that in games.
Yeah, basically you destroy these, you go back into VR space, and you have to...
You got hearts.
Yeah, because there's like these Easter Island looking motherfuckers who try and kill you, and you have to shoot them.
The Moai.
And if they hit you, they take off a heart. I never died, so I don't know what happens if you lose all your hearts. I guess you just get kicked out of cyberspace.
No, if you die in cyberspace, you die in the real one.
Yeah. And then once you finish this, you have a conversation with a guy on a phone, and he's like, "Oh, you need to do this to escape," or whatever.
And that's just a teaser.
No.
Okay.
But then you go to level 2, which is in like a office area. And then you come into the brick wall of the demo for me, the boss fight. There's a boss fight in this demo, and I could, for the life of me, not complete it. I kind of did several attempts, took a break, came back, and I was like, you know what? This is making me unbelievably mad. I'm just going to play something else. And by that point, the demo festival had ended, and I was like, okay. Maybe I'll play...
It's kind of like Ultra Kill.
Yeah, it reminded me of that Ultra Kill boss where I kept doing over and over again, but I couldn't defeat it. It has a lot of, like, one-shot mechanics almost, this boss, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. Like, it's really hard to charge that dash, to dodge that dash, so he has an animation where he's like, I'm winding up an attack. So I will go, oh, he's winding up a dash. I will, when I see that flashing out, I'll dodge. But then he stops for a second, and then he attacks.
Yeah, I find those really,
Like, the natural time, like, it's something I could learn, but it just felt a little bit off. And then there's, like, the section where he shoots out the beams, and there's ones you need to slide under and jump over. I think with enough time I could beat it, but ultimately I was like, I'm good, I'm just going to play something else. Maybe I'll come back to this in, like, you know, the full game. But I thought this game was really fun overall. I think I was playing like a normal difficulty as well. Just to say what I was playing on.
It's not even Ultra Nightmare.
No, I was just playing on the normal one. I think if there was a difficult, I don't remember if there was, because sometimes I go crazy and I read Steam forums when I can't beat stuff, and I read Steam forums and people are like, "Oh, the game was good, yeah, it was a bit easy though," you know, and I'm just like, "Oh, for fuck's sake." But obviously, people experience, you know, games in different ways, and some people find stuff hard, and some people
difficulty isn't linear or absolute.
Yeah, but I think overall, I thought the gameplay was fucking solid. It was really fun. Like the boss section was the only part where I was like, "Oh man, I didn't feel great about this." But obviously, it's a boss. So.
It looks frustrating, but I feel like the mechanics and the effort they put into it is I quite like. I appreciate.
They managed to dodge it there. I don't know if this was something. I don't know if this is something where the game's kind of expecting you to farm secrets for extra health and ammo and armor.
I will say those like.
Because I just kept putting all of my. Because when I was playing the like campaign section, I was like, oh, none of the enemies are really that challenging, so I'll put all of my points into ammo. So I had more ammo, and then I came to the boss, and I was like dying in one hit, and I was like, oh, maybe I should have gone back and put my points into health and armor, but I didn't know this boss section was going to exist. So
yeah, I don't think that the game should be informing you of that with like the enemies to inform you that you need more health. That you shouldn't.
Yeah.
One thing I was looking at, you know, like the shock. I don't know what you call it, but the shot, like the AOE ability that he's doing. Like you dodged one by going under, and then one by going above, and to me, it didn't look very different in terms of height. It was like
I think I've actually got the hang of it, but you know, it was still a bit hard. Maybe I just need to get good. You remember we played the Ultra Kill boss? And I was like, we have to stop the spotlight, otherwise I'm going to sit here for half an hour trying to beat it. And then I sat there for 20 minutes trying to beat it, and I still couldn't beat it. I still haven't played Ultra Kill properly yet. But I'm excited to try it. Like, I was waiting with Ultra Kill because it's still in early access. They're still, like, developing that game. And I feel like that sort of game I'd want to just, you know, play it in a finished state. Like, I didn't mind playing Doom Eternal later when the DLC came out.
I think it's a little different.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they had like a final point and there's just more stuff afterwards.
Let's move on because there's a lot more demos to talk about. ANTONBLAST. I have never played WarioWare. Not WarioWare, sorry. What's the name of the Wario game? This is like... It's like that Pizza Tower game or... I've got like a giant list of notes I've made in a notepad, but they're not in order for what you're seeing, so I have to find them. I've never played Wario Land or Pizza Tower. If this is how fast they are, maybe I wouldn't like them. Without more practice, I think the movement in this game is just a bit too fast for me. It's definitely getting that aesthetic of Wario. Have you seen Pizza Tower, by the way?
No, I've never seen it.
You never heard of it. So Pizza Tower came at the start of this year, and people were like, "This is a spiritual successor to a very specific platformer, the Wario Land platformer," which I've never played, but it is like it's like very unlike any other type of platformer.
Okay.
It is very much about platforming fast and stylishly, with lots of like weird movement mechanics.
So that's why you got the multiplier there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it even features like a Pizza Tower mechanic where you have to like quickly move through these levels with these interesting movement mechanics, or like to jump you have to slam the ground with a hammer, and then you have to time it to go higher. Which I was like, this is really interesting. I think I would just have to spend more time learning it.
Yeah.
Like, because it's very much unlike any other platformer I've ever played. So, like, the mechanics in it are just so... I'm just so not used to them. Like, I'm used to, like, oh, I can double jump, I can wall jump. And it's like, no, you can sprint in this, and if you hit something, you immediately lose all your momentum. So you need to, like, quickly move and hammer jump. And, like, it's more about timing and timing your movement and stuff like that. It's very different to, like... normal platformers. But I believe this is the same in Pizza Tower. I think it might be the same in Wario Land. But essentially, you go through the level, and then once you get to the end of the level, it essentially goes, "Oh shit, something's blowing up," and you have to essentially run through the entire level again, but to a timer. So you essentially spend your time playing, which I think is a cool mechanic. Like you spend all your time like learning the layout of the map and collecting collectibles, and then once you get to the end, it's like, right, now try and get to the end before it blows up, which is like an interesting idea. Where it's like the start of the level is the collectathon, and then the end of the level is the speed run.
Yeah.
And in this game, if you failed the timer, you would just reset back to the start of the escape section. Also, I love this mechanic of you switch between the background and the foreground, and you can always see it and like switch between it. It's really cool.
Okay. So how do you actually switch between it? I didn't.
You see these jump pads?
So there is a jump pad. Okay.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
You hit these jump pads and that moves you between these two different surfaces. It's so hard to... Because I watched videos of Pizza Tower, and I was like, I don't understand how this controls. And then after playing this, I was like, oh, okay, I kind of get it more now. It's like... It's hard to explain or see on like, camera, but... you hit these springs, and that transforms you between the background and the foreground.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting.
I think the level design in this game is really cool, like the way they have designed it to be like constantly switching between the two, and I love the aesthetics. I think it looks really cool.
Well, it really goes with the absolutely hectic.
After this time, look up Pizza Tower, and you'll get an idea of what. You remember when I showed you? I was talking about a game that looked like Cruelty Squad, and you were like, I have no idea what Cruelty Squad is. And I was like, you need to look up Cruelty Squad, otherwise I'm going to sound insane when I talk about this game. But yeah, it's a very interesting, unique game. It's one of... Pizza Tower is like one of the good games to come out in 2023, so definitely one to look into. And this seems to be in a similar vein, so... Seems like it could be really, really fun. So if you fail, you just restart the entire end run sequence. But I think with Pizza Tower, if you fail the speedrun at the end, you have to restart the entire level from the beginning. So it's a bit like harsher in that sense.
Yeah.
But yeah. I guess if you're looking for more Pizza Tower, maybe check out ANTONBLAST. It looks pretty interesting. I don't know. Again, I've never played WarioWare or Pizza Tower, so I would be looking into playing more of this. Like, obviously, I didn't want to commit time to like playing loads of it for the demo. I'd rather, play the full game, and then see if there was something I'd be interested in.
Well, you played enough to know it's something you wanted to play, which is almost all you need to do for a demo. Arguably.
On to the next one. Next up we have... Oh, another boomer shooter, Tony. Captain Wayne's Vacation Desperation. Do you want to guess what engine this is running in?
Unity.
Unity! This is GZ Doom!
Okay.
I purposely didn't show the menu for this one, because the menu's very GZ Doom, if I remember correctly.
My rationale
Yeah.
Is more of the... I mean, it's still geometry based. Maybe... I don't know, the geometry just seems smoother to me. But I guess...
This is
not a problem for GZ.
This is very much GZ Doom that I was reading on the forums that someone was having a problem launching the game, and the devs suggested as a troubleshooting step that you needed to find a legal copy of the Doom mod to get the GZ Doom container to try and troubleshoot it. Like, yes, maybe it's trying to read your Doom mod and it's not reading your Doom mod, and GZ Doom's going crazy as a result of that, which I thought was fucking hilarious. Mine didn't have any issues. I do have a legal copy of the Doom mod installed at all times because I play so many Doom mods, but I just thought that was kind of funny that happened as a troubleshooting step. It starts out, so this is the tutorial. The actual game itself starts out very Duke Nukem-ish, I will say, and even though it's running in GZ Doom, it has very much build engine like Duke Nukem build engine style building destruction, which I thought was really cool to see. I thought the gunplay was really good. This is very GZ Doom. If you look at this menu, you can immediately you can look at this and it's like.
I kind of felt I obviously I was completely wrong, but I kind of got the impression it might have been Unity like pretending to be GZ Doom as kind of.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it's getting harder and harder to tell.
Yeah. And I still kind of get that feeling around then, but then like these
again,
walls
so
look very
I would have liked an autosave option. It has the quick save option, which that's a very Doom transition there, where it like, warps the screen.
But autosaves are great because like someone else has made the map.
So this is
when you're gonna
this is very much Meltdown in Hollywood. You start out on the roof. Hollywood Meltdown is the first level of Duke Nukem. You have like the room with the mirrors. I love the punching mechanics as well. Really, really cool. People were saying the voice acting is good. I believe the dev said he did all the voice acting himself. So you can say, could you see the finger on the wall that's clearly meant to be a penis, but is also a hand?
Oh, okay. Well, I just saw a finger, so...
Yeah, it was just a finger. I want to talk about the save system. It is Doom save engine, so it is... There's no autosave, so you have to manually save. You can do a quick save, but you have to stop the gameplay to confirm you want to do the quick save.
Okay.
I think generally I'm at a point where I just want there to be an option for auto-saving in most boomer shooter stuff now. I don't mind.
It's just like a
having an option for saving.
Yeah,
but it feels kind of bad when I'm like, oh, I died, I'm restarting the entire level again. It's nice when that's an option.
You didn't know it was going to be bad at that point because you didn't make the game.
I think like the sprites and the animation are quite good generally in this game as well, which I quite like.
They're very quirky, though.
A quick save option would be nice. You don't necessarily have to use it, but if you could. I mean, there's mods that run on GZ Doom that have autosave on them, so it is possible.
Well, I assume if you've got a quick save option, like surely autosave is just checkpoint activate quick save.
Yeah, the movement in this felt really good. The gunplay was really good. Just show off some. I want to show off some of the build instruction. I think this is where I died for the first time, and I'm like, oh. I didn't realise the game didn't save as I was pumping all my ammo into this big fucker.
You get to the whole thing again.
Yeah, reload the save and I'm like, oh, I'm at the start of the mission. So I was just speed running through it.
It's like an understanding like games where like, we don't want auto-save if like you have like limited saves, like it's part of the mechanic of the game. But if you have just easy access quick saves, why not have auto saves? That's kind of my take on it.
Yeah. Just trying to see the building destruction. I immediately saw the oil and I was like, oh, I can just shoot this oil in order to blow everything up.
If
you look at the pretty good building destruction mechanics.
Yeah.
But like
it's like early 2000s destruction. I like that.
That was the big. I don't know if you noticed, but that was the big feature of Duke Nukem was the build engine could have these big building destructions because it was moving more towards being 3D than the Doom was, and it was like, oh shit, that's so cool to see. So it's like obviously like a classic cool thing to have in your boomer shooters to have building destruction. Considering this is running in GZ Doom, that's really cool to see.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Essentially, you have to go around, collect keys, standard boomer shooter stuff. It's a cannonball launcher, Tony. I think you would enjoy that.
I think...
Very piratey theme, captain theme.
Hang on. Is it got a graffiti skull in the back?
Yeah.
It's an interesting aesthetic. Yeah, I'm all for crazy weapons.
Yeah, and in hopes of not making this 5 hours long, I will say this is really good, and I would recommend checking it out in the future. Let's move on to something else.
That's a good one.
Oh, Dream Swing! This is an interesting one. I was like, I'll play this for like 5 minutes, and I ended up playing it for like half an hour or something. It's essentially just Bejeweled Zen mode, but for movement games. It's essentially it's literally described as like a game you would play when you're inside a queue. So if you're queuing up for like League of Legends or Overwatch or anything that has you would just go, oh, I'll just play this while I wait in the queue. Or if you're like a streamer or something, you know, you got downtime, you know, obviously interesting little game. This is the tutorial that I'll show me playing so you can see how to do it wrong. I love games with good movement. It's one of my favourite genres of games. It always has been.
And swinging is always nice. Like, I don't know what it is. The Spider-Man simulator. You got like Spider-Man Zen mode is what I'm gonna call it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is very like Spider-Man-y, I guess.
I mean, that's why I got when Insomniac Spider-Man was coming, I was like, please don't mess up the swinging because like it's such an integral part that's fun.
You need the game movement to make you feel like Spider-Man.
This game made me feel like Spider-Man.
So it's like a pretty good movement swinging arena practice sort of game. So you can either have it so you have to collect these. There's a certain amount you have to collect on a timer. And then you see like how well you did, or you can basically do what I did later, which was Zen mode, where you just collect orbs just infinitely. There's another option. That's the Bejeweled Zen mode option,
right?
Where there's no real objective. It's just moving around for the sake of moving around, feeling good, which I quite like to do in games.
Purpose to go collect stuff, yeah.
Well, I mean, you've got no purpose to collect stuff. You're just moving around.
Well, no, but it's not just swinging for no reason. It's like, here's a target. There's infinite, but there's a target to actually swing to.
Yeah.
Which
trying
gives
to move
you
around in interesting ways.
Because, like, I'm just trying to think, like, if you could just play, like, you could just swing. I mean, I'm not saying you could easily load it, but you could just swing around infinitely in Spider-Man. It's like, but you need, like, somewhere to
I thought about this, and I was like, it feels like a mode that you would have on a full game. It was like it felt very much like a practice arena.
Yeah,
it was like Kovacs or Aim Labs are another games that I've played before, where it's very much they feel like practice for other games.
Yeah.
And it feels like similar along those vibes. It's like you're practicing movement sort of in this game, you know. I probably wouldn't buy it unless it was like Vampire Survivor tier pricing is what I'm calling it, like a couple of quid.
It would have to be.
But I can definitely see the appeal, considering I have bought games like Kovacs, Aim Trainer, where I just sometimes it's a simple little practice game, but it is very useful for practicing your aim. And I could see like a Zen swinging game could actually be quite fun to play. So I would recommend checking out Dream Swing if you're movement inclined like me. You like to play these sort of games. Let's move on. Oh, Tony, another golf game. Here we go.
Okay.
This is called Dungeon Golf, I believe. I'll double check. Dungeon Golf. So it is a tactical golf game. So you.
Oh, the frog. The skeleton. Hang on.
I picked the frog. You basically
pick. Skeleton. I like the.
You pick characters with different abilities, and you're trying. Basically, it's like golf. So you're trying to get to the end with the least amount of strokes, but the entire time you have abilities that are powered by mana, and throughout the golf course is enemies that will attack your balls.
That sounds really cool. Okay.
So if you kill a monster along the way, it minuses your shot. So it's actually quite useful to try and kill the monsters as you're going through the course, because if you don't kill the monster and your ball lands in the aggro range, they will attack the ball and knock it back. Whereas if you
just whack it.
Yeah, if you kill the monster, it will minus a shot from you and it won't be able to attack your ball.
So are the monsters not instant per character? If you destroy a monster, it's also then easier for your opponent.
Yeah, so if you destroy a monster, it is easier for your opponent. You both exist on the same map.
That's cool, because that's like some like risk reward sort of. Yeah, I like that. Like tactical. Yeah, this is really good. Well,
and then you also want to aim your ball to collect mana along the way, because that's how you cast your ability. So like my frog had the ability to like send out a tongue lash that would immediately you could immediately attack someone. So if the enemy golfer was stood there, you could attack them. If there was a monster stood there, you could attack them as well. But after you use the tongue lash to attack them, you would move to the location as well. So it was like it was half an attack, half a movement ability, which is quite interesting.
Strong. Yeah.
And then he had like an ultimate ability which would use up.
What the cow doing?
Oh, there's announcers for everyone for the interesting golf match. And then when the AI is playing, you can look at them playing, or you can fast forward through it if you don't want to watch the AI playing.
Also, so X show you danger zone? So that shows like their
danger zone shows where like the aggro of the monsters is and stuff like that.
What's jump pad? Oh my god, this looks like the golf game I would want to play.
Yeah, it is really fun. I'd recommend it.
Oh, he's taking a selfie. Look at that. That's beautiful. Why he needs to put his baseball cap on the right way around. But...
No, he's too cool for that. He's too cool for that. Tony, I found a really cool golf game.
Yeah, I want to play that. Is there a price for this yet? Is it not? Do we know?
I'll check the store page now because I open them all. The release date's to be announced, so we don't know when it's coming out. But the golf game reminds me of the most is 100-foot robot golf. Actually, it's a shame that game is so broken because despite the multiplayer for that game is completely like I've tried to play it multiple times and it's just but it's got that same
player and it worked. It's just multiplayer
I didn't. The thing with multiplayer demos is it's hard to convince somebody else to download something that may or may not work.
Yeah.
The problem is multiplayer demos is like 90% of the time they don't. The game itself won't actually work, but then on top of that, there's another 90% chance that the demo itself is actually a multiplayer demo rather than a single player demo, and then it'll have multiplayer in the future, which is annoying.
The game and the demo might have different features.
I started off not fully understanding it, but then I came back in a big way, and I found I really started to appreciate like the mix of golf and tactical dungeoneering, I would say. It is such an interesting mix. And then you have like these announcers watching the game, hyping it up. I think it's it's a really, really cool game. And I like how every single character has their own sort of unique abilities.
Yeah, that's very interesting to me. So this is up to only 4-player then? Like, judging the UI at the top?
Yeah, perhaps. I would assume probably somewhere around there.
Which is interesting. I wonder what the limitation is there. I mean, normally that's fine, like 4-player, but we have more than 4 people who play golf games in our Discord server, so...
Yeah, I'm sort of a golf aficionado when it comes to golf. So, because I killed the monster there, I get minus a shot, so I get to move, and I'm technically not taking a shot.
Oh, okay.
So it's always beneficial to try and kill monsters if you can, because you're taking away the danger while also moving your ball forward. If you see this red zone on the screen now, Tony, that's showing the aggro range of the monster, and those green zones are showing where the ball's going to get pushed. So we're going to get to see the AI get attacked here. Because this is the first couple of levels.
Wait, did he do it on purpose? Hang on a minute.
It's tutorialized. It's tutorialized, the first mission, Yeah.
Get out of here. Oh, he's immune.
Because of Fibula's special ability, he's immune to just getting like fucking yeeted off the map.
Oh, interesting.
Because I think
the knockback is reduced.
Yeah, so one of his abilities is he has armor, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So you don't want to hit the explosive barrel. I'm liking like the stuff that's like there's other stuff in the map as well. Like they could have just added like the enemies in a manner. And left it at that instead of like other stuff in the map as well. There's a lot of thought put into this.
Yeah. And then also, at the start of the match as well, it has that announcer sort of vibe to it. You choose your sponsor, and your sponsor is basically like a perk you get for the match.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So you can see like the tongue lash here. So this is what I was talking about, where you basically attack a monster while moving yourself forward.
Oh my god, okay.
Yeah, so I get to move, I kill this monster, and then I've used my ability, so
That's cheating!
I actually get to take a shot while moving. That was pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, it's like a very more gamey golf
Oh,
game,
and when
like
the
this.
ball's moving, you can like slowly nudge it as well, which I quite liked. So you're not just sitting back and watching, you're like, oh no, I want to nudge it in this direction. I did that. There was a couple of bugs where like the AI got stuck in some places, but apart from that, it was pretty solid.
Okay.
Wonder if we'll see one here. So I think always the person that's the furthest away takes their shot.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, I think the AI got his ball stuck here. Wasn't sure what to do. Yeah.
What's in limbo?
Go forward a bit, show you some more of the game. This map was just full of explosives. This was like a tough one.
It seems kind of fun though.
Yeah, I'd recommend this game. It was actually really good. And hitting those explosives does give you a penalty shot as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like stuff with like decisions you have to make and like being like gamey features instead of just being like playing golf for like the zen of it. I just don't get anything out of golf from that or golf in that way.
Yeah, really fun. I want to play multiplayer, see what that's like, but single player is really good. And it says it's going to be like a campaign mode, like a single player story mode.
Yeah,
so it's going to be fun.
That's great. But you throwing his head? What the hell?
Yeah, he's
what? What?
It seemed like a pretty shit move in my opinion, but I'm not going to argue with the AI. You know.
maybe you fucked up the shot.
Next up, we have El Paso Everywhere. I kept wanting to call it Old El Paso Everywhere, but that's just a Mexican food brand.
It's a trip between who you were.
What's that? Wait, El Paso.
El Paso Everywhere.
Okay.
So let's take it from the top.
So a lot of the time,
jazz standard.
With demos, I have to compare them to other games because it's easier to be like, it's, you know, not every game is exactly like another game. So sometimes it's a lot easier to describe a game if you mix it with another game or two other games together. I've never played Max Payne, but this is what I assume Max Payne would be like with vampires. No, Max Payne with vampires.
Very
so the main
you're a vampire hunter then?
Yeah. So the main story was.
How works? That's such a good idea. Why has no one done that before?
His ex-girlfriend is like female Dracula, and she's going to open all evil to end the world. And if he has to go and stop her, otherwise the world's going to end. That seems to be the basic story.
How did they start dating? I have many questions that I'm sure I never answered. How did they start dating?
For the demo, it starts at like level 1. Level 4 and then like level 20 or something, so it like skips ahead just for the purposes of the demo. But the story does seem pretty interesting. Like the story seemed a bit cheesy, but everything else was like really good. Like the atmosphere, the like slow motion jumping. You just heal with pills, grabbing pills here.
Is the story not meant to be like cheesy and like hamming it up? Is it meant to be more serious? Okay.
I mean, there was sometimes I was like, "Holy shit, that fucking monster just came out of nowhere." That was scary, but
yeah,
it does have this like sort of darker atmosphere, but it's still like more like an action film, I would say in some respects.
Yeah, I mean, that's what a vampire game should be like. Like. It's very hard to make
if you're a fan of vampire games, there's more vampire games coming up, Tony. We've got a couple more.
Oh, thank God. I've got a whole vampire section, or category on Steam, so...
Oh, well, maybe you'll be picking up some games.
Yeah. I mean, Max Payne with vampires, that sounds great.
The way it works is you have guns which have ammo. You have these things called stakes, which essentially like one-shot enemies at like melee range, and then you can destroy wooden furniture to get more stakes.
Oh, okay.
That's how it works.
Okay.
So you have.
See, that seems quite like it's like a silly mechanic.
Yeah.
And steak. And steak.
Yeah. It was pretty fun. I felt like it was a bit easy. I think this is his ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
Nothing. I just wasn't ready to say goodnight yet.
There's like these weird little like trippy story elements.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Okay.
It's very much like unreliable narrator because your character is literally just slamming pills to try and. I assume the story is like
Max Payne has a similar stuff to
yeah,
where it's like you don't know if what's real or not to some extent.
Like enemies will just appear out of nowhere. Like, is he actually? Yeah. I would be interested if they did something with the story where it's like he's going around fighting these vampires. If they want, like
that's a humorous shot. That's a lot of pills.
If the actual full game was like, yeah, they're not literal vampires and they're more like metaphorical vampires, I could see that being interesting. Yeah, but his ex is Dracula. Lord of the Vampires.
15 miles from here.
Yeah.
Tiny motel.
I mean, depends if you want to read it, I suppose.
She's conducting a ritual that will end the world as we know it. It's what she always wanted. Even when she said she didn't.
What a prankster.
If I don't save the people she's taken or kill the things she's conjuring from the void as we speak, the world dies today. I threw away 6 months and 11 days of being sober for a chance to save the world.
Yeah, so it seems like he's been off the pills for a while, and he's like, oh, fuck, I have to take a billion pills so I can fight all of these creatures to stop the world from ending.
The last tiny
he was sober to be able to... Okay, right.
That's you. I need you to believe that I'm not going to open that trunk. That I'm going to get back into this car on the count of 3 and stop my ex before she destroys us all. I need to know that you believe. So I can too.
Well, I believe. So.
I didn't believe.
What?
Doubters?
Well,
I just want to let this stuff play out because it's just... It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's not a normal way of telling a story.
Being gone isn't a good sign. Gotta get to the
elevator. But in a way, I don't know. I'm getting like
I
don't know. Like I don't know how this makes sense, but like a serious parody of Max Payne in a way. That's kind of what I'm getting.
You have that slow motion diving you have in like Max Payne.
Yeah,
which is quite useful when you have
the focus on the left as well.
Enemies running at you. I like how it like always seems to be like usually grounded in like hotel rooms, but then suddenly something goes very wrong and it's sort of like it's like grounded supernatural. It's like what's the best way to describe it? You know, like Control, where everything's office buildings, but it's also super fucking weird. I love that sort of stuff, but I don't know how to describe it.
Super mundane. I don't.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. I think that works well. Like, so there's like a pretend groundedness to it that just makes it like a juxtaposition between supernatural and the grounded experience.
Like I loved the FX show Legion that was about the mutant Legion, and that was like a super weird show.
Is that spoilers? Or is that something you meant to know?
This is bad.
I don't think most people are supposed to know it. But,
okay.
Well, if you know the comics and stuff, you'll know that. I mean,
bathroom break.
Go take a leak. Yeah, I just kept jumping because I was like, oh, well, it's about jump.
Yeah, you were generally playing how I first played Max Payne, just got used to jumping.
I want to play Max Payne at some point. I never played it before. Yeah.
I'm told that it's not actually like I've supported people play it like quite recently, so like it actually like holds up. Because I was always concerned that maybe it was outdated.
Is it? They said it did hold up.
Yeah, they said it did, but I don't know if obviously different people.
A game that people have been talking about recently, because Trepang 2 just came out. Fear, the original Fear holds up like crazy. That's another game with like slow motion bullet diving. And I played Trepang 2 and I was like, this is fucking sick. I love this. Maybe I need to play like Fear and Max Payne, because these games are very clearly inspired by those games.
What is going on in the top, by the way? What the hell?
That's just the void.
It's incredibly
oh, there's also like innocents around the level, so you've got to like try and save them, and you get bonus points for not killing innocents and helping them out.
But do you get anything for killing them?
I don't know. I don't think you get anything for killing them. Okay. I don't think I killed any, but
I thought it'd be like
that very much reminds me of like House of the Dead, where it's like, do not shoot, do not shoot.
Yeah. Oh, House of the Dead. Okay.
But these are like dog enemies, where it's like, oh, slowing down time is very useful because they sort of like run at you very quickly and don't have a lot of time to react.
Yeah. I have I don't know if it's a game that's done this, but I've always been curious what it'd be like if you and the enemy attacking someone with slow motion abilities. Like, how would that look? Like a reverse Max Payne, I suppose. Like, I always wondered, like, I was always curious, like, how that would look and like how you could like make a game like that.
The enemies were able to
the enemies do slow mo and you're just normal.
Isn't that super hot? Or
in a way, I suppose, but I'm thinking more like, I don't know. I'm just trying to always think like, what's the perspective that enemies look like when you're doing the slow mo, like, and you're like doing these like, you're like realistically, you're shooting quite fast and like aiming quite fast. Like, how does that look from the enemy's point of view? Oh, he's saved. Okay.
He's been innocent rescued. I guess there's gonna be bonus points for doing that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It saved an innocent. Maybe there's a different ending for how many innocents you save. I don't know.
Maybe you just killed them. If you kill them, there's another ending.
One thing I wanted to say was I found that there was an insane amount of stakes, health packs, and ammo packs.
Yeah.
That was the part where I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Oh, okay.
You have like an energy bar for when you can like go into slow-mo?
Yeah. I know in the... Is it called Focus in Max Payne? I can't remember what they called it, or what they referred to it as.
I like the atmosphere that goes into like this very cool like upbeat sort of track when you get into more action sequences. But one thing I wanted to say was health, ammo, and stakes were everywhere. It felt like you couldn't really go wrong.
So maybe just like a demo thing, maybe? Or
I think there was options to increase like the damage multiplayer of enemies and stuff like that. So potentially, like, I did always like it when I played a demo. It was like you can make the game harder or easier for yourself, like an accessibility option, which I was like, that's always like a very good idea to be able,
especially for a demo,
give people be able to tweak it themselves if they think it's too far in one direction. But I think it would have made it more tense if I had less resources. There was sort of
if you had to redo sections. Yeah,
as I say, it sort of skips around. Here's like a later level where I'm like in a spooky graveyard, and it's much more like supernatural.
Yeah, we got the surrounded by.
Oh, I forgot about this song. Oh yeah, you can have it. It doesn't automatically reload guns. And if you have a shotgun, you have to manually reload every shell.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I turned auto reload on, which is a nice option to have. Wait, if I go back to the options menu there, and see these. So they had auto reload, auto get up after dive, swapping weapons automatically. I believe there was difficulty settings in there as well.
In Max Payne you can stay on the ground and keep shooting. That's actually like a really useful thing to be able to do. I guess
the reason I'm doing this is that some of these statues come to life.
Okay, you're not just insane. I will say that mechanic makes you look insane. That does quite well.
Well, it's like in Prey. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That in Prey, there's the typhoons that can turn into anything.
You just like hitting every chair and
one of my favorite rooms in that game is there's the sticky note room, and on every single piece of furniture and like cups and everything, there's a sticky note that says "not a mimic."
Okay.
On everything, it is.
Cool.
I always thought that room was hilarious. But yeah, there's a lot of enemy variety, especially in the later levels.
Yeah, I'm quite impressed with the amount of enemies actually.
So, and I think there's a lot of promise with this game, so I think I'd recommend checking out El Paso Everywhere. Really, really cool game.
It looks great, yes.
I think they were singing about like a Vampire Sunday or something.
That's cool.
And I was like, is this the dev singing? Like, it's such a weirdly unique song.
I can't dig it though.
There it is.
I mean, I feel like I shouldn't, but yeah.
Let's move on. Oh, on guard! This demo is really fucking cool.
Yeah,
so, I saw this at not E3, and I looked through all the fucking weird indie showcases, and I looked at this game and I said, this looks really fun.
Yeah.
And then I said, oh, it's got a demo, I should try it out, and I did. And it's really fucking cool. So I played the story mode and the arena mode, because there's both, and it recommends you try the arena mode after the story mode, and I did, and I was like, oh, okay, you know, actually, I'm glad I did, because it shows you some more advanced mechanics that are coming in the full game, and it helped me get to grips with the game, and normally that's something I wouldn't hop into, but I did. It was difficult to get used to at first if you've played Assassin's Creed, because when you play Assassin's Creed, right, like, I'm thinking like Assassin's Creed 2 and 1 and stuff like that.
You hold the elbow and then you then counter the specific timing.
Yeah, but in Assassin's Creed, all the enemies stand around in a circle and they wait in turns to attack you.
Yep.
One at a time. In this game, they don't wait around for someone else to attack.
Oh, excellent! That's
so they actually have like, you know, not dumb AI.
Does that force you to be aggressive then?
It forces you to. I would say it forces you to run and climb a lot, and then also you need to, and you need to use stuff like the environment a lot.
Okay.
So when a lot of the enemies will have what's called red attacks. Which are basically unblockable attacks.
Right. So you have to dodge them or not be in the way.
So a lot of the time, if you go in to counter somebody, another guard will then hit you with a red attack, so instead of being able to counter this guard, you then are then forced to do a dodge instead, and it means the gameplay is a lot more fluid, where it's like, well, this is the obvious best choice, but I need to do this now because this has changed how I'm playing, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And it was tough to get used to at first, because I was like, oh, I'm used to them just standing around in a circle and waiting for me to do something.
You've been Ubisofted.
But I love the environmental. So
yeah.
You can basically kick anything and use that as a weapon. There is tons of stuff in the environment. You see that I went to counter that guy, and then the other guy was like, no, fuck you, I'm doing a red unblockable attack.
Like, you can only get hit 6 times. Okay. Well, I guess 5 times, then you're dead.
Yeah. So I was playing with a controller because it was recommended to play with a controller, and there is a like light platforming in the game as well, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think my prediction of like from the not E3 stuff was correct. Like made a better counter system from Assassin's Creed with cool looking.
And there's enemies like
interesting characters.
If you counter once, sometimes you have to counter twice to counter them.
Oh, okay.
And then you have like waves, and then after you defeat one wave, that like refreshes your health bar, and then you fight another one. These are like the lackeys. They're very like easy to kill, but they're like gang up on you. There's a lot more of them usually.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, there's still like I feel like you're having to like maneuver. Like your footwork is useful. Like making sure you don't get surrounded. Like it seems incredibly useful.
My biggest piece of advice to anyone who's playing this game for the first time is, if you get overwhelmed, run. Like a lot of the time, you need to force duels. So like in Assassin's Creed, when you get overwhelmed, you just stand there and they stand in a circle waiting to attack.
Like
but in this game,
circle.
if there's a group of them, you're in trouble. You need to like run away and try and pick your fights strategically, which is like a really, really cool system.
I really like the aesthetic, by the way. Like, it's just
it's a really good look. I believe it. I don't know if it's Unreal Engine 5 as well. Not sure.
The lighting to me reminds me of Unreal 5 if it isn't. Like, I'm getting Unreal 5 vibes.
I can't actually remember. I could be wrong, but I played Jusant in the Stone Festival, which I'll talk about, and that was Unreal Engine 5, 100%.
Okay. So, like Assassin's Creed 1, you can't swim?
Yep. Just like in Assassin's Creed.
That was terrifying, by the way. If people remember Assassin's Creed 1, just like, you're like, oh, you have to kill someone on a boat. So, well, I don't want to die.
I don't want to immediately die because Altair and Ezio can't swim.
Yeah, and he can't aim sometimes.
But can Ezio swim? Ezio can swim.
Ezio can swim. It's Altair that couldn't swim. That was like the biggest thing. Like I feel like, if I remember correctly, like the first like big set piece in the Assassin's Creed 2 is that you dive into the water.
Sometimes enemies can't just be kicked off the edge of things. They need to be staggered first by having something else kicked into them.
Oh, okay. So you can't knock them back until you. Okay, that's kind of a cool.
Yep.
The environment effects makes that so satisfying.
Yep, it is always really, really awesome to do in the game.
Okay, that corner of the meter reminds me of like that looks like Unreal 5 to me. Like that.
It's a good looking game, yeah.
Yeah. I like the quips that you have as well. That's funny.
Yeah, so for the tutorial, there's a mysterious man that's attacking you who's very clearly your brother in disguise. Just trying to like spur you on, sort of thing, to test you out. He's like, I'm going to test you out for the tutorial. And it has that very like Spanish, like Puss in Boots vibes to it.
Yes, yeah.
Which I absolutely adore about this game.
Which makes sense.
I don't know if I'm appropriating Spanish culture by just saying it's very Puss in Boots, but as a Shrek enjoyer,
yeah, it's fine.
What are these guys? Conquistadors? Is that what they're called?
I guess. I don't know enough. No, I don't know enough about.
I'll skip ahead to some
culture in general.
Later gameplay. You can see like more enemies, more variety, a better player.
Dude, like they just went ham with the colours and it just looks so good. And, like,
it looks vibrant.
The coloured shadows, look at that.
Like imagine this in like a HDR OLED. That would look. It would be absolutely popping.
Imagine this on the Apple headset.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna play this on Apple Arcade for sure.
Yeah. In your kitchen.
Oh, you also get a special bar later here as well. So I have an ability that like immediately deals a lot of damage. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. The music's really good as well, by the way. I feel like. Yeah, I'm pleased that the game, this demo of the game is as good as like the
because the trailer looks really good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this might actually be better than I was hoping. Oh, El Vigilante, definitely not your brother. Right, got it.
Yeah. Defeated. I can't believe it.
I like it that yes, you agreed to be my sidekick. Absolutely not. Redo.
Yeah. Elvin Vigilante is not the hero. I am as on guard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if I have. I don't think I have a recorded arena mode, but arena was really cool because it basically goes, oh, here's all of the props that are going to be in the full game. You can play around them in an arena, and there's stuff where you can kick guys into cannons, which will shoot other guys, or
Cool.
you can kick down chandeliers that will destroy like a big mob of people, and there's like throwables you can pick up to throw at people. It's like a great like fencing environmental playground.
That's really cool, yeah.
I think I kind of cheesed this boss by just getting it stuck in the corner there.
Yeah, a little bit cheesy, but you had to get rid of their guard bar, I guess, or their stagger bar first.
Yeah, but On Guard, absolutely recommend this game. Really, really fun.
That is really cool.
Next up, we have Jusant. I don't know how to pronounce this.
It's a French game.
French maritime term qualifying a period of low ocean tide.
Okay.
So this is, I wanted to play this because it's Unreal Engine 5. I thought the trailer looked really cool. It gave me very much like that sort of low detail sort of Limbo sort of vibes, but more colourful sort of thing. It's essentially like a climbing game where you have to like, everyone lives on the side of mountains because there's no like
lowland or like flatland.
Well, the idea, the story is sort of told through documents you read as you climb up, and from what I could tell, there's like a low tide area, and then it's like the rich people live more towards the top of the mountain because they're further away from the tide that comes in.
Right.
But I don't know like if all the water's gone now, what's going on. It's sort of like left open ended. I thought the atmosphere and the art of this game was pretty cool. The basic climbing mechanics took a little while to get used to.
Okay.
But once I got used to the basic climbing mechanics, I thought it was fine. My big problem with this game was like the advanced climbing mechanics that you had to do were like really hard to do and just felt gimmicky a lot of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it always looked interesting. It's like, oh, okay, so it's like Strand, but going upwards with actual.
It's got like that Breath of the Wild like energy bar as well. You need to like rest as well. And then you have these like
points to stop.
You have like these zipline points that are like your checkpoint sort of thing, where you're like tied in, and then you can place your own like anchor zipline things to progress further. But you have like a limited amount of them.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. Yeah, can you find more as you climb?
So once basically, so these anchor checkpoints things, they're just for the section you're on, and when you get to onto a flat surface, they'll reel in, and you basically refreshes them.
So like if you keep dying at a point like right, I'm gonna put one here to make this easier for me personally.
Well, no, it's not necessarily makes it easier. It's just like you kind of need to place them so you've got enough tension to progress, sort of thing.
Oh, okay. So like if you get too much tension, you have to like. Okay.
It's not like I wouldn't say it's less like a checkpoint and more like a way to extend the rope to keep climbing.
Right.
But yeah, I played this for a while. I thought the story and stuff was pretty cool, but I think ultimately the game looks good and has good atmosphere, but I could only bring myself so far to try and finish the demo before giving up, because ultimately the climbing mechanics just got far too tedious for me. Like I'll show you here where you have to like swing yourself across. And I was like, oh, I need to get up to this big red rubber ring thing over here, and I didn't realize I just needed to go over here to the left where these little climbing things are. Like in retrospect it seems easier, but then there's like stuff later on where I'm like trying to climb this tower thing, and I'm trying to swing myself to certain places, and I'm not sure where to go, and I was like, you know what? It feels a bit janky. I could see the appeal of a game like this, but ultimately I think this is a game that's not really for me. I
still wanna try this. I wanna know if I gel with this, because like I feel like I would like this to work for me because I did always find the climbing stuff in Assassin's Creed really cool. You have to like.
I would
It's
say
like far more
it's
extreme than that.
definitely not like the climbing in Assassin's Creed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more complicated than that and a lot more
Yeah, that's
janky.
kind of what I want though. I don't know. I have to see. I see how I gel with it. Yeah, I think it's good there's a demo, I guess, because then you know if it's for you or not.
Yeah, I mean, it looked good. It was an Unreal Engine 5 game. It ran okay. And yeah, this is sort of some of the jank I was talking about, where I was like, and I'm never sure if what I'm doing is correct or if I'm just completely off base. I would have liked.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's like it's meant to be very minimal direction, so to try and.
Yeah, we just try and get up so that you.
I would have liked
see.
more direction. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure where I was supposed to be going this time and what I was supposed to be doing. But yeah, maybe something you would watch on Twitch or YouTube or something, because I don't think this is going to be for everybody.
Yeah.
And so we have Little Kitty Big City, which is one I played. I thought this was pretty good. I enjoyed this. It's the second stray game. Yeah, it's a cat game, which means it's going to do very well on the internet. You are essentially playing as a cat that has fallen off the edge of an apartment, and you're trying to find your way back.
Oh, you're really high up. Okay.
Yeah, and you've essentially, on your way down, you start exploring the city, and that's the main like story beat of the game.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say it's light platforming, light puzzle game. It is, and this game does make you feel like a cat. So
okay.
There is that good feature.
Very Japanese aesthetic.
But it's not just like a 3D platform where you just like I can jump, I can double jump. It's like you very much have to pounce and move like a cat would, and you have to overcome the. It's a lot slower of a platformer compared to like most platforms. Like this is how a lot of the jumping and stuff sort of works. But like I think once you get to the
jumping puzzle more than jumping.
Yeah, I think because like in Stray, they were very deliberate to make the animations look like it was a cat moving, which meant a lot of the times it was very much just like you were pushing a button, holding down a button to make the cat move across these platforming stuff.
You like stuck to the points, right? Instead of it being you doing it.
Yeah, I got some Untitled Goose Game energy when I knocked over this guy's paint and just started walking around everywhere. There's lots of like side objectives that are like make a masterpiece, or you would go into the city and it would be like, oh, you'd find hats that you could put on. There was like an objective to smash a bunch of items, find shiny items for the crow, and completing each one of these like mini quests would basically reward you with an exit out of the demo. Basically, it'd be like, oh, you've finished here, you know. You'd be able to play more in the full game. Would you like to leave now, sort of thing, or you could continue trying to, try the other stuff that's available in the demo.
Right. Sort of okay. Yeah.
Yeah, there was like platforming to get these shinies. I liked that you could find the tin cans lying around and you could recycle them for money to use for the shiny.
Recycle? Okay.
Yeah, the game has recycling.
I thought you were going to say like you could find like.
It is very much like a Japanese city, as you can see by the signs.
The aesthetics is very Japanese. Well, even before the signs, I feel like this is like you find this like it's just so Japanese.
Oh, you get bread to catch birds to get feathers for a side quest for this other cat.
Okay, and he's too lazy to do it himself.
Yeah, he's teaching me the secrets of bird foo. So you have like this mini game where you have to pounce on birds that are trying to get bread.
That's kind of cool. I like that.
And you grab it in your mouth and you just grab one feather and then you let it go.
Yeah, we can't just catch the Twitter bird and then kill it. You'd kill Twitter. Wait, you got the Pepe mask or Pepe hat?
Yeah, I got the frog mask. I got a bunny hat as well, apparently. Oh, so this guy, when you get enough feathers, he'll upgrade your gear for you, and then he starts going like, "This isn't the real world. Do you want to exit the real world, player?" And it's just like, oh, they're doing the fourth wall thing. But I assume this is how you would progress through the game or unlock like upgrades for your gear.
Wait, is this Hagrid? What's going on?
Yeah, he's magical. But I thought this is a pretty fun little cat game. I'd be interested to see like how far it goes in the full release.
Yeah, I'm very curious. Okay.
This is a game that I just sat down and I played for like an hour. It is a relaxing ocean cleaning game. Think like Power Wash Simulator, but underwater. The idea is the ocean has become polluted, and you need to go around and clean it.
Yeah.
But it has really interesting mechanics because you have like a certain amount of oxygen or cleaning power, and you can upgrade these by collecting resources and turning them into upgrades. So there's like progressions, and you have different zones that you progress through by cleaning certain amounts of them.
So there's actually like
yeah, there's mechanics where like slime keeps regrowing on plants, so you have to basically buy machines that keep auto cleaning plants so you can fully clean areas, or you can get machines that inject life into plants to help them produce fruit, and then you can use the fruit in order to feed these little Loddlenaut things that follow you around, like pets.
Right, okay. Sorry, what was this game called?
Loddlenauts.
Loddlenauts.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I could boot this up quickly and see what it's like, and I lost a lot of time to this demo. It was... and I think I will lose even more time to the full game. I think I would highly recommend picking this one. You have to come and grab all your recycling and sort it out, and then that turns it into these like resource nodes, which you spend at your like fabricator.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a mix between like Subnautica with like a power wash or something like that.
Yeah, for me, this might be completely off base, but I'm getting like visual clearance with like combined with like Slime Rancher, but without.
Slime Ranch is another great example of a game that's like this. Yeah, it is one of those like wholesome direct games that are like very relaxing. But I think this game is genuinely really fun. I started playing with the controller because it recommended it, and then I actually just switched to mouse and keyboard because I found it easier to aim the gun with that. Even though the gun has like an auto-targeting system that is fine with a controller, I felt like personally. And then so that's your landing zone, which is like your base, where you have like unlimited oxygen. But once you go out, you have a limited amount of oxygen. So if you want to progress further, you need to like build oxygen rings at the base, and then you can place them wherever you want to help you go out further from your base to clean up more corruption and trash.
You mean that humans just dump shit in the water?
Like you have this little laser gun and you just sort of like zap the corruption.
Yeah.
That puts life back into the environment.
I'm still blaming the humans.
And then when you clean the plants, that increases the resistance to goop spreading. Which is the bad stuff you're getting rid of.
So is this the goop?
Yeah, this is the goop.
Okay.
And there's usually benefits of cleaning like individual things. Like these like pods here, once you clean them, they'll start shooting out oxygen for you, which is quite useful to grab.
Yeah.
And then there's crates that you can shoot, which give you like a bunch of like a big stack of resources, so it's useful to try and focus on destroying those, but you need to upgrade your laser gun to be able to destroy those first. It's like there's an interesting progression path to how you want to sort of play the game. You sort of like cleaning up this area, these boats and stuff. Get food and stuff. Oh, like you can upgrade your scanner because you can scan where dirt is to help you like complete your percentage for cleaning up areas. I'm assuming there's going to be loads more stuff. Like these rings are always useful because they fully refresh your oxygen and also refresh your boost. So you can set them up in a line to like as soon as you run out of boost from one, you immediately go into another one and boost yourself. That's sort of what I did. I was like, oh, I ran out of boost here. Let's put a ring here, and then I'll be able to just boost between them, sort of thing.
Okay. It seems like they put a lot of thought into this. It just seems. I can kind of see why you'd start and then just keep going.
Yeah, it was really fun. Because eventually you get all these metal bits and plastic bits from recycling enough, but if you destroy these crates, you get like a big burst of the raw materials to spend on upgrades and things in the world to help you keep it clean. But they took this idea of like, let's do a game about cleaning up the ocean, but make it really fun, and I like that idea.
Yeah, add mechanics and progression.
Yeah, I lost a lot of time to this game, and I could see myself losing even more time to the full release, so I'd highly recommend this one.
Okay, this is a very different game.
Yeah, here we have... what is it called? Motordoom. It's sort of like a arena... Vampire Survivors meets Tony Hawk's Bike, I guess. I'm not a huge skateboard trick sort of game guy, I would say. I understand this is a bike, but it's the easiest way to describe like
you're still
what's happening here.
Yeah, it's like a style. Style. Is there a generic term you could use for all sorts of things like that?
I don't know. I just said Tony Hawk's motorbike shooter Vampire Survivor. I hated the soundtrack for this game. I gotta be honest.
You don't like black metal?
I don't know if it was the dev who did the fucking soundtrack of this game, but the one I wrote down to describe it was shit. He just kept. I think he literally just said shit in like heavy metal. I was like, I don't know about this.
I don't hate it. I'm okay with this. I'm not saying it's great or anything, but I don't find it problematic.
But yeah, this is the tutorial. The sort of like base game mechanics is you have this is a different character I selected who plays differently to the main character. But you essentially is very much like Vampire Survivors. So you collect XP by killing. You collect XP by killing monsters, which then lets you buy upgrades, and you can change how you play depending on which upgrades you take.
Right.
So it has like that.
And the upgrades are Magic the Gathering cards.
Yeah. And you can get score by doing tricks, which, I don't really care about score, but there are certain cards that are like, oh, when you're grinding on a rail, you shoot out a flamethrower out of your bike. So it's like, oh, I want to... when you're performing a trick, you do this sort of thing, So it is like... is interesting to the gameplay as well. Because normally you have to... shoot while you're doing the tricks, but as someone who's not very used to these like Tony Hawk style games, I found it really useful that there was a character that you didn't do any of the shooting on, that had like a sidecar on it that did the shooting, while I focusing on just trying to learn the tricks.
Right.
Which I thought was probably the way to go for most people, was to just try the skeleton character first.
Yeah, if you're learning how to do the tricks,
although the main character is interesting, like when you aim, you slow down time. I was using a controller to play. I did not like shooting with a controller. I never do normally. But the ability to slow down time made it a bit more bearable.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, like, if you're like controlling a vehicle, like a car with guns or like a plane with guns, like, yeah, would you want to use a mouse or a controller?
Generally, if there's ever a point where I need to shoot while driving, I will switch to a mouse and keyboard.
Well, no, but I'm saying, what if it's like it's linked, like wherever you're pointing your vehicle is where you shoot. It's not you're shooting out of it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
I'm trying to think what I would prefer. I feel like I would just.
So for Warhammer Speed Freaks, I opted for mouse and keyboard.
Right.
Despite initially like using controller for the driving, I was like, oh, there's a lot of like aiming with the guns. I'm going to switch to mouse and keyboard. For someone who plays GTA a lot and uses mouse and keyboard for like shooting in person, and then switches to controller on the fly for driving. I find when I need to shoot in a car, I default back to using mouse and keyboard.
Okay.
It's generally my go-to. But I do think that even though I wasn't a big fan of shooting the controller, like the actual like being able to go up into the sky, do a trick, slow down time, do a 360 and shoot people in slow motion was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
Like I'll show you the. I think I got some. Did I get some biker gameplay? I don't think I did, but the biker gameplay was still cool as well. I think it was a bit easier to learn with the skeleton. I don't think I would play the full game based on this demo. It's definitely something cool to try out, but I think ultimately it's not really a game for me personally.
If you've played Tony Hawk and you can play that, well, maybe this game.
Yeah.
It does seem really weird. But
it's taking a lot of. It's like Tony Hawk, Vampire Survivors, but with guns.
Yeah.
It's just like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting game.
You actually died? Okay, interesting.
So, this is Mr. Run and Jump. It is actually published by Atari. You know, we're talking about the Atari's coming back, and it's an actual 2D platformer that was originally developed on the Atari 2600.
Okay.
So this is the game, and they're re-releasing it, and it's pretty fun. Like, it has pretty tight jumping mechanics. It's surprising. I've never heard of or played the original. But I thought it was actually quite fun. Like, it was quite simplistic, but ultimately,
well, it's in the name.
It's cool to see, Atari coming back and reliving the classics. I don't think Night Dive had anything to do with this one, but maybe we'll see, Night Dive doing some more stuff like this. Yeah.
The jumping sound is so nostalgic, by the way. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, it is really cool. Oh, by the way, Tony, just fucking kidding. This isn't actually the game. This is a bait and switch. Ooh. It's actually a modern platformer with tight fucking controls, but using taking the aesthetic and the IP of that original game and updating it for modern systems, and it is really good. The platforming in this game is really tight. It is really well made. So I thought I would keep you out of the bait and switch originally to see if you were like, what the fuck's going on? And because I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it starts out as this 2D platform and turns into this neon
with nostalgic sounds. Metroid system. Okay.
You can turn into a ball,
I just thought that as well. Metroid it all the time. I probably shouldn't. But...
There's long jumping. Oh my god! Immediately I was like, oh, there's long jumping, there's high jumping, there's double jumping, there's wall jumping. Like, it has like a lot of like crazy. There's sprinting. There's turning into a ball. And I was like incessantly going through every level and collecting every single blue thing because I was like, there's going to be a counter at the end for getting every single blue thing. So I need to get every single one.
Yeah. Was there?
Yeah, and there's these like... there's a dash as well. There's like really advanced movement mechanics you can get into. It's like, oh, I fucked up my jump, but then I'm going to dash to reposition myself over here. It's like, It reminds me of
Yeah.
like Hat in Time, sort of.
Yeah.
Hat in Time's like a 3D game, but that's very much like a
But in terms of
like forgiving,
movement,
like
yeah.
having lots of movement options
Yeah,
to like
yeah.
augment how you want to move. It is
It's
still
like
taking
Mario
that
as well.
Mario's a bit more strict, but once you get used
Okay.
to it, it's like, yeah,
I just
Mario
know there's
definitely.
always like you can throw your. I understand that Mario Odyssey, like, you can like jump, then throw your hat, and then like just like
Yeah, Mario
jump over lots of
definitely has
stuff.
like god tier mechanics, but there's these like little challenge sections that have these red orbs that you can collect as well as collecting these blue ones if you want more challenge in the level to collect.
Okay.
There's a counter there
wall
to show you
jumping.
how many you've collected. Yeah.
I think every game should have wall jumping. I don't know how you'd implement that, but I just love wall jumping.
It's very much like the way it was is automatic checkpoints for the screen you're on, and then when you die, you reset to the beginning of the screen.
And it's a really quick reset.
So it's like one hit kill sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably the way to do it if it's giving you like generally generous checkpoints.
If it's just one screen.
It sort of reminds me of like Meat Boy in a lot of ways, where it's like you die very quickly, but you move so fast, and it's so easy to get back into it. It's like it's very easy to just like, oh, I died, go again, go again, go again, go again. Okay, fucking XQC, go again. Yeah, this was so much fun. I just sat and played this for like ages. Like it gets like way more complicated as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it looks without knowing how it feels, but it looks the animations and stuff, it looks really solid, and
there's like a wall level where you're like
you
have to platform while like lava's coming. There's on Meat Boy. There's like Dr. Fetus is chasing you with which is a weird fucking name for a character, but Dr. Fetus is chasing you.
Well, that's a weird game.
Yeah. From like the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen, so you have to constantly keep moving, like that sort of like blood wave sort of mechanic.
Yeah.
And this game has that as well. I spent a lot of time dying on. I think these frog enemies are really interesting because they basically one-hit kill you if you touch them, but they have these slime pads that show you exactly where they can jump.
That's what that. Okay,
they always jump from a pad to a pad, but one thing that was annoying me in one of the puzzles was there was multiple pads and or multiple frogs, and I wasn't always sure which direction the frog was jumping in.
Oh yeah, you didn't know which one was going to what.
Yeah. There's not really a clear animation. Sometimes they can face the opposite way to the way they're jumping, which I would have liked to have been able to like know exactly which way they're going when there's like a big long puzzle that's like, oh, to get this orb you need to go through this long section that one hit kills you, but you know, I need to know if the frog's going to be going to this slime pad or this slime pad. But aside from that, this is a fantastic platformer, and I would highly recommend it to most people. Very, very good. Really surprised by this one, especially with the whole bait and switch into Atari just releasing like an insanely good 2D platformer with great aesthetics and everything. Yeah, cool to see.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
NecroGolf.
More golf.
Okay. So it's taking the idea of mixing golf shots with zombie defense.
Okay, right.
So essentially, you take a shot of golf, and after you've taken the shot, then a wave of zombies spawns, and then you have to like defend your ball. And if you die, then you basically fail the hole. The only way to kill the zombies is by hitting them in the head as well, which really confused me at first because it seemed like if the zombies ever got too close to you, it was basically like GG at that point immediately. Like the idea was cool in theory, but didn't seem to work very well in practice, in my opinion.
Right.
Because it was always
it's definitely an interesting premise to try. I give them that.
Yeah, it was always very much like I'm going to take my golf shot, and if I don't immediately kill this zombie, it's pretty much the entire golf course is GG. I would have liked... It's like, oh, this guy's too close now. I can't kill him. So I fail the entire golf map.
Yeah, it's a shame there's not like different... Like you can you can't use an iron to like increase like how high...
There's a shop and you can buy caps. I assume maybe they'll... In the tutorial mode, they had like ice balls or exploding balls you could use, which might make it a bit easier, but I don't particularly want to have to farm caps to be able to play the game.
There should always be a mechanic you can fall back to that you shouldn't like have to.
But it's interesting that it's like, well, I want to take a shot to make sure I get close to the hole, but you may also want to take a shot to be close to an exploding barrel so you can kill a big wave of zombies very fast. Like, I think the idea is there in theory, but in practice it just didn't work very well, especially when, you know, you just... Oh, a zombie got too close. I guess my run's over.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't instantly die.
I'd like to see more from these guys, but obviously...
Maybe it's more refined...
We need more golf games in the community, guys.
Well, there's quite a lot.
Oh, here we go. Boom shooter alert. We have Rise of Triad Ludicrous Edition. Got a shareware demo that is going to be available the whole time. So it has the shareware levels of Rise of Triad. And it's so hard to describe, like, the platforming and the look of this game. Like, the way it sort of, like, warps around. Please don't shoot!
I
think
what the hell?
They've been radicalized. I think they're like Nazis or something.
What? But they surrendered.
It just reminds me of like when I was playing Wolfenstein and you'd kill them. They're like my Leben, like my life, or every time I'd have to shoot a dog, and everyone would be like, "Why'd you kill that dog?" And I'm like, "He's been radicalized. He's a Nazi dog."
Yeah.
Boomer shooters love killing dogs, and I can tell you, in Rise of Triad Ludicrous Edition, you get to be a dog. There's actually a power-up that turns you into a dog. So it's so hard to describe the... There's like weird jump pad mechanics. You eat priest porridge to heal, and you collect amulets like you collect gold in Wolfenstein for score. It's just like a score thing. Like, as someone who's never played the original Rise of Triad, it is, like, weird to experience. I mean, I've seen videos from Rise of Triad, like, the end-level music for this game, I just listened to for ages, because there's a YouTuber called Civi, who is, like, a massive boomer shooter YouTuber, and it's the, like, credits theme to his YouTube channel. I've heard that song, like, 1,000,000 times already, so it's absolutely stuck in my head, but... I've actually played, like, Rise of Triad 2013, the Outsider, and I actually bought it because I just remember I was looking on Steam one day and I saw a game called Rise of Triad, and I thought, that sounds hilarious, let me get that game for me and my friends. So I bought it, and I bought a bunch of gift copies and gave it to my friends, and I was like, oh, this is... a weird, like, shooter game? I don't really understand. I never really played it fully. I played the multiplayer of it very briefly, but, I don't know if you know this, but, New Blood, the guys who did, like, Ultra Kill and Dusk and stuff, that was actually one of the first games they ever worked on, was the Rise of Triad 2013 shooter.
Okay.
And it's so interesting to see not only Night Dive, but Apogee and New Blood all come together to work on a boomer shooter. The game is definitely...
Meal, by the way?
That's what I thought. Yeah, monk meals and priest porridge is how you heal in this game. I like some of the inclusions they added. Like, I was messing around with the HUD, so there is a Doom style HUD you can put on, which I quite enjoyed that I was using. You can have the ability to have alternative outfits on the enemies. So they've made like to add like enemy variety. There's like different versions. I love the things that there he is. Like the famous quote is there's a guy who throws grenades at you and he goes, "You belong in a lunchbox. Ha! Eat lead." That's like a famous thing they say. But yeah. There seemed to be like one level from each episode in the shareware, and I played them all. So I played like, this seems to be like maybe an earlier one, and then there's like a later one that has a. Oh, so this is like the Doom HUD where you can. They've added like the bloody face.
I like that. That's cool.
And I found a power up called the random power up, and from what I could tell, all it seemed to do was just make the screen go horrible, and I had no idea what's fucking going on. I think it just gives you a random power up. I'm not sure like.
That wasn't a debuff, that was a power up, okay.
This is the new map they've made to help you navigate around.
That's
with
beautiful.
very brightly coloured areas to let you know where you have and haven't been.
And all the sprites are like 2D, or like as if you're like looking at them from the ground.
It's so weird to platform in this game. It's like a mix between 2D and 3D. It's just never quite right. It's so weird to explain, but it's a thing to experience, and the way the world is always like parallaxing, so it's kind of 3D. It's weird. Like if you focus on the skybox, you'll get what I'm talking about when I move around.
Well, I'm having like weird stuff with like the parallax with the doors for me specifically. It's like kind of weirding. Like it just looks weird to me.
But it's well polished. Like the menu's really good. The options are really good. Like it immediately reminded me of like the Quake remaster. Looking forward to the Quake 2 remaster that we hopefully going to be getting soon. But this is really fun. I can see myself playing the full game despite never playing the original Rise of Triad. I love everything Night Dive touches. I love New Blood shit. And yeah, I'm into boomer shooters, so definitely going to check this one out when it comes out. We have ROBOBEAT here. I keep talking about how I'm never sure about rhythm FPS games. I thought I'd try another rhythm FPS game because I played that Metal Hellsinger game.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like sure like whether I'd like it. Now, the one thing I liked about this game is it has something called a chill mode in the options. So immediately it has an option that lets you play without having to shoot the beat.
Excellent.
And I actually found it easier to shoot to the beat with the chill mode turned on.
Yeah. I think that's what I've been saying. Like, it's like if it's more of a reward instead of like you have to do it, I think you would naturally get better without being forced to.
So the main basis of the game is it's like a roguelike shooter where you pick up weapons and you get power-ups and you progress deeper into the area. And the really
very
interesting...
similar to BPM, isn't it?
The interesting thing is the music you play through cassette tapes that you can kind of switch on the fly. And different cassette tapes are different BPM. So you're kind of like... It's almost like a difficulty slider as well, because I assume hitting to the beat on a higher BPM is going to be a lot harder, although maybe easier for some people, but you kind of decide, and then that's like, so it's like half music selection, half difficulty selection with the cassette tapes.
Yeah, I guess different people like enjoy different music and whatever they prefer would be whatever they
I just want to also point out that I was playing this with wireless Bluetooth headphones, so there's potentially a delay between when it's being shown on screen and when I'm hearing the music, which is not something I had before because I had USB headphones that had much less latency, but I've kind of just given up on USB headphones and I'm just like, fuck it, I'm just going to use Bluetooth headphones because they're so much easier to use.
I think at worst it should only be double the amount of delay, which is not nothing for sure, but yeah, it's something like it normally like should be 25 milliseconds at most, and then like Bluetooth
that's something to consider when you have these games that are very much like you need to hear and shoot at the exact same time.
I've never found a problem with like Bluetooth timings. I've always gone used to the delay, I suppose.
Well, some like rhythm games that you set offsets so you can like I'm not hearing it exactly at the same time, so you can sort of like adjust it.
There is some technically like stuff in like the Windows thing to try and do that already. I don't know if games normally interact with that or it's just like video
It shows you like the BPM and then you can sort of like choose different songs.
That's really
this one's a lot faster. You can tell by how quickly the things are moving. And then you go through rooms, you choose power-ups, and then you basically there's like a boss level, and then you basically unlock permanent progression.
Okay.
But basically, the entire time I was playing, the game was telling me I was off beat. Like pretty much, I was every time you clear a level without being on beat, it's like you're tone deaf clear. And then eventually, I got to a point where I was like, "Fuck this! I'm going to put on chill mode." And I was like, "I'm enjoying the game a lot more in chill mode."
Yeah.
I can't tell if I don't like these sort of games, or I'm just bad at them, or
both. Yeah, I think the chill mode makes a lot more sense for me as well. Like I'm much more into that now, knowing that it has that, because I don't. Yeah.
But it's like in Angerfoot, there's nothing about shooting to the beat, but that game's very much about or Hotline Miami, where that game's very much about getting lost in the beat, and I like the idea of music being an integral part of the game without necessarily having to be beat perfect.
Yeah.
But the whole time it's like
for doing it perfect,
the whole time it's like you're off beat, and it's like it throws you off because it makes the song slow down and go off beat.
And then you can't get into it. You can't.
And here you see me go, fuck this! I'm going into chill mode. But I feel like I was a lot better in chill mode. Whether that was just placebo from it not telling me I was doing bad.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You're definitely hitting more there, but
I was getting. I got to
make it easier.
Every time, as soon as I switched into chill mode, every room I went into was like perfect clear, perfect clear, perfect clear. And I was like, "What the fuck's happening? Why does just? I don't know. I'm assuming chill mode is just making it so you don't have to shoot on the beat."
Yeah, that's what I should assume. So I assume it's still reporting accurately whether you got a perfect or not.
Yeah, I don't know though. It could just be. Yeah, harmonic clear. And doing these harmonic clears gives you like a bonus power to use in the next room as well. It's beneficial to get these perfect clears sort of things.
You have to like turn it back on and see if you're better like after like doing it or something. I don't know. You have to see. I'll
just live in the world where I'll just live in my copium. What's it called?
Yeah. If it makes the game better, it doesn't matter to other people that you made it easier. That's the great thing.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just me, but I found shooting to the beat easier when it wasn't a requirement, and it was just I could just focus on just shooting. Yeah, this game is pretty fun.
Instead of being punished, you're being rewarded. That's the way it should be.
So we have Skator Gator 3D. It's sort of a mix of rail grinding and 3D platforming to like a very like cute little gator. I'll just show it to you now. You need to track down the guy who stole your shit by grinding through stuff, and you have like rail grinding sections, but then it goes into like a more of a 3D platforming section. More
I'm getting a Sonic Heroes vibe. I'm hearing okay, genuinely, when you went on that bounce pad, I heard the Sonic Hero bounce pad sound.
Up a little bit.
I think I'm just going insane because it definitely didn't make that sound.
Your brain put the sound in?
Yeah, my brain went boing. It's like, and then
it's like when you can't hear something, but you know what it should sound like, so your brain puts in the noise.
Yeah.
But it's like it switches from these more like slower paced 3D platforming to this grind rail stuff. Like reminds me a bit of like Ratchet and Clank, you know?
Like... I was gonna say actually more of Ratchet and Clank, but my brain put in a Sonic Heroes sound.
I don't think Sonic Heroes is like a unfair comparison though. That game is very much like a mixture of slow down platforming and rail grinding.
I think but I think with the way I don't know. I think with the way you're collecting stuff and the way the camera's working and the slower pace once you get to a platform, it's way more like Ratchet and Clank with like the grind. Because that has grinding bits in, right? So to me, it's like Ratchet and Clank's a better fit.
I forgot to put the 15-minute timer on for not talking too much about an individual thing and running out of time.
I don't think
Has anything gone over 15 minutes?
I think just
I'm
one
guessing
bit
the
makes
first
sense.
one at the beginning, right? I talked about that for ages, didn't I?
Hang on, I'm just looking through.
The Sunset one, Beyond Sunset. I talked about that for a long time.
Yeah, okay, that's the only one. I was gonna say that El Paso was like the next longest, I think.
Right.
I thought Garde was gonna be longer, but it wasn't.
Hmm.
Oh, for some reason, Little Kitty Big City was a while.
Right.
I don't know what happened then. I think my numbers are correct there. Okay, interesting.
But we've got a few more to go through still. This is pretty fun. What you see is what you kind of get. You sort of... It's this great... It's got, like, good sounds, nice little soundtrack, wholesome, like... jumping. The platforming's pretty good. I felt like some of the late, like, grinding sections were, like, it was a bit hard to try and collect everything if you're, like, a collectathon completionist.
Yeah.
You couldn't go back as soon as you wanted the grinding stuff.
That's always, I don't know what it is, but like I feel like every grinding, well, games with grinding in, that's always a problem. But yeah, it's kind of like why I find it appealing, like trying to get everything. I do like grinding.
Yeah.
Grinders are good at.
There it is. I was about to make that joke. But yeah, this game's really fun. If you like cute little platformers, I would recommend Little Gator Skater 3D.
I just realized, so these might be like normal size like reeds, and then you're just like tiny.
I guess, yeah, you're little.
Yeah.
You're the same size as these toxic barrels, though.
Yeah.
What's the scale of this? I'm not 100%. Skator Gator 3D. I mean, maybe the toxic barrels gave you the skating powers.
Oh, maybe they are. Yeah. They do look like baby barrels now that I'm looking at it. Maybe Skator Gator 3D isn't the most realistic game.
Yeah. See what we got next.
But it looks pretty good.
Sludge Life 2. It's going to be an interesting thing to talk about because I've played Sludge Life 1 now. I have not talked about it on Tangerine. Because a lot of what I have to say about Sludge Life 2 is it's very much like Sludge Life 1. How do I describe Sludge Life? This is a really interesting game. It's one of those games where I play it and I'm like, I'm not sure what the gameplay is of this or like how I feel about this, and I go away and I think about it and I like it the more I think about it.
Okay.
We're going to have to do a Tangerine on Sludge Life 1 at some point because I've got some stuff to say about that. But
his own video.
I'm getting a lot of Sludge Life 1 vibes from this game.
Right.
It actually feels like a much more streamlined, focused version of Sludge Life 1. Like Sludge Life 1 is a really big open area, and it has this like big open area where you can go and explore and everything. But I like how linear and focused the demo of the second game is because it forces it to be a certain length.
Right.
And it feels like it's more focused as a result. I would love to see more focus from Sludge Life 1. And if Sludge Life 2 as a whole is more focused, I would love to see that. How do I describe Sludge Life? It's got great atmosphere and environmental storytelling. You start out, so you're on an island made of sludge. Everyone is on strike because the mascot of the smoking factory has been killed, and everyone loves smoking. That's the kind of the basic story of Sludge Life. Yeah, his name's Siggy, and everyone smokes cigarettes. So obviously, everybody loves Siggy, the mascot of smoking.
Right.
But then it's very nihilistic. Everyone's kind of like, I'm so over this shit.
That's so much.
And your character is a tagger, so it's kind of a bit like Jet Set Radio, where you're kind of going around just spraying your tag everywhere.
I like how this guy is like, I'm not making ashtray, I'm making it for my cat.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But there's a lot of the story is just told through interactions with characters or just looking around the world.
That's kind of cool.
And So there's objectives that you get on your laptop. Oh, did you see the options menu, by the way?
Yeah.
Can you believe this nonsense? Our publisher is forcing us to make a demo for our game. That's a bit of a fourth wall break here. 6969 for Paso. That comes in later when you find their briefcase.
Okay. What's on the whiteboard? Okay. Interesting.
There's a mini game inside Sludge Life 1, and there's another one inside Sludge Life 2. I much prefer the mini game in Sludge Life 2. I didn't really like the Sludge Life 1 that much, but interesting to see. It's just there's a lot of interactables. You sort of, I guess you could kind of describe Sludge Life as a walking sim in some ways.
Okay. So you're just like So you are just walking around interacting with stuff. There's no like.
You get objectives on your laptop, but you don't. There's an ending.
There's no. Like, it's not like a puzzle or like a platform or like a gunplay. It's like very much. It's objectives you walk to and interact to solve them.
At least you're not into the elevator. We have a Code Brown again. Someone's taking a shit in the elevator. Fucking disgusting. But for like the demo, I had the objectives like it was like take 5 photos of cats. Give 3 cats cigarettes, which is something you can do. Eat all the eatable objects.
I know this is gonna sound like a bad comparison, but like I personally think this is like a good. Well, what I'm comparing to is good. Maybe not as a good comparison, but it kind of reminds me of like the Japanese anime games where it's like, oh, go and take like 5 pictures of this, and like, okay, just like kind of
I mean, in Sludge Life 1, you're very much in a big open city, and you eventually get like a glider, and you're like sort of very freely moving around, and
right.
So I've got a flyer now, so that's a new item unlocked. You'll see when the menu's like a computer, but how's your character looking at a computer in the real world? I'll turn Dog Lover on, yes, because that lets you. I think that lets you stroke dogs or something.
Okay. So if you hate dogs, you can turn it off. Thank God.
But every time you come out of the menu, you just throw. You're using a laptop and you just throw it on the ground.
Oh, that's what's happening. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. I like that. He just shows. That's great.
Man, Sludge Life is such a unique game. It is hard to like describe, but yeah, I really like the direction they went with this.
What's the cat doing?
Oh, there's me installing some stuff. It shows you like the to-do list to get the completion.
Oh, okay, right. Just throw the
I'm just gonna give my buddy a cigarette just in case.
That's great.
Yeah. And you have Big Mud, who's a rapper. I love the music of this game. Like the whole base of the demo is you're trying to record a song with Big Mud. Big Mud.
That's the objective, is it?
Yeah. I love there's a song in Sludge Life 1 called Bubble Up. It's like bubble up, bubble up, bubble up, bubble up, bubble up, bubble up. It's a very like. I would say it's very like anti-capital game. It's very much about like anti-establishment. I would say Sludge Life.
Yeah.
Cigarettes are a huge part of Sludge Life.
Cigarette.
But the guy who did the soundtrack for this, I believe he did these are the same guys who made Heavy Bullet. If you remember the game Heavy Bullet, which is like one of the first YouTube videos I've ever made is on my Spawn channel was reviewing Heavy Bullet, where it's a roguelite where every bullet you shoot is heavy, so you have to go and pick it up again, sort of thing.
Yeah.
That was a cool game.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see they're doing more weird shit. I love weird shit, and it's always awesome to see Devolver supporting weird shit, so it's awesome to see that Sludge Life got a sequel, because I still don't know what that game's about.
Would you say this is very avant-garde?
Yeah. It's borderline experimental.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna upgrade it to just experimental. I'm not gonna let it be a borderline.
Let's look at Stop Dead. Stop Dead is sort of like a mix of like Hotline Miami with Mirror's Edge, I would say. If you ever stop moving, you die. No, really. You let go of the W key, you will immediately die.
Interesting.
So it is very much Stop Dead. You stop moving, you die.
Yeah. Don't stop dead.
I think it's a very good idea. I think it was kind of poorly executed in this game. I had some fun with this game. Like when it works in its fast-paced movement gameplay, it's really fun. Yeah. But a lot of the time, I would just have to like kind of stop moving because of wonky platforming, or there was a section where I needed to pick up a weapon and bring it over a hill, or like like carry it over a higher up raised area. Soundtrack almost reminds me of like the Machine Gun soundtrack from Neon White. It's got that very much vibe to it. Like when it works, like here, it's like really cool. It's like, oh, quickly grabbing items and punching people and doing shit. But like, I would need to pick up a weapon and bring it with me. But then as I was going up like one of these areas, it would get caught on the lip of the edge of the area, and it was like kind of clunky. Like there's definitely some improvements they could do there.
It shouldn't clip, it should just be like move itself out of the way.
And a lot of time I'd be like, oh, I need to figure out where to go, or I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be going, or the platform is wonky and I need to do a couple of attempts of this. I would find myself like naturally running around in circles to not stop moving, rather than just keep going forwards. There was times when I had to like naturally stop. So like you never pick anything up with your hands. You're always like grabbing it with this teleportation things, which means you're using these mind powers to shoot guns. It does look really cool, yeah.
It is very interesting.
I struggled with this jump for so long. It was so hard to get, but I eventually got it. I love that there's some guns you control, and then there's some guns you pick up, and they just wildly fire when you pick them up. You can't use them. This is what you have to do. You have to like jump, and then jump out this window and activate your booster to make the distance for this jump.
Right.
I'll just skip ahead. You can see what you were supposed to be doing. But it is very much like that Hotline Miami where enemies die very quickly, you die very quickly, and if you fail, you have to basically reset the entire level. It has that sort of vibe to it.
Yeah. It looks really cool as an idea, but okay.
One of my problems was you want to pick up a lot of shit, but a lot of the time it's really hard to pick up what exactly you want to pick up. Where you'll just pick up some random garbage instead, and that's not really what you wanted to pick up.
Yeah.
Like for example, there was this sort of like boss fight at the start of a level, and I would need to pick up these explosive crates, but it was like really janky to pick them up, and then I would use them to shoot this big enemy to deal a lot of damage, but the amount of damage they did would seem to be completely random. Sometimes they would just like one shot, and sometimes they would deal no damage, and that could be due to the fact that I was sometimes shooting them closer to the enemy and sometimes further away. That comes back into the point of it was really hard to pick up what you wanted to pick up and then aim it exactly where you wanted to aim it, because you also need to be doing this while constantly holding down the W key. You can't stop moving. Like it's a really good idea, but I think it could definitely do with some refinement, and I'm not exactly sure 100% how you fix this issue.
Yeah. It seems promising, I guess. I don't know if it's like if it can be improved or changed now.
And then like some of the enemies had shields, and I had no idea how the shield mechanic worked. Like I would have liked a bit more tutorialization on that. I really struggled with that.
So this is the enemies you have to kill, not.
Yeah, like I don't know if I have it in the video, but I'll just skip ahead. See, so this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, the fight starts with an enforcer. He has a ton of health, you have no guns. So I'm like, oh, you need to get these explosive barrels to kill him. And it's like, oh, wait. These explosive barrels sometimes one-shot him and sometimes, deal, like, no damage. But this guy also has a shield. And I have no idea if I'm supposed to just try and damage through the shield or wait through the shield or, like, what I'm supposed to be doing with the shield.
Right.
Yeah.
That seems a bit, yeah.
But I figured out there was a bunch of explosive barrels around this area, and it was like, oh, okay. But I hit him with a bunch of explosive barrels, and then I ran out, and then it was like, well, I've got to reset now, because sometimes I can kill him with 1 explosive barrel, and sometimes I can't kill him with 3, and then I have to basically reset. So I need to kill all the targets to get through the level.
There's not enough. Yeah, okay. It's just quick to reset, maybe that is the idea, but
yeah.
Okay.
Like, you just see that 1 barrel one-shot there? Like, but sometimes it just deals no damage, and I'm like, well, like, how am I supposed to... if it is a precise aiming thing, how am I supposed to do that while also moving extremely fast?
Yeah.
Like, when the game works, like here, it works really well, where you're quickly shooting barrels, blow up, like, kill loads of enemies.
I would say, like, don't have like the precision throwing of the barrels, just have, like...
Here you might see what I'm talking about.
Damage.
I'm jumping over here, but then it's kind of getting caught as I'm going over there. It didn't get caught as much there, but...
I just don't think weapons should get caught. I don't think that adds anything.
There was this enemy that just shoots out gravity wells that send you flying into the air. I don't know. This feels like one of those games where the devs played 1,000 times and he's like, oh, this is so easy. I'm so used to this. And it's just like, if someone's playing this for the first, this is why you need like the demo first to be like, this game needs some like difficulty tweaks or refinements or something.
The actual fundamentals looks fantastic though. It just seems like a little bit.
Again, the pistol got stuck. So annoying.
Yeah, I just don't think weapons should get stuck. They should just move out the way.
I think they should just get rid of weapon collision when you're holding them. Yes, that would be a very easy compromise. 100%. That's my #1 request. Just remove weapon. If you're holding something, remove its collision.
But I would assume like if it visually is inside the wall, you can't aim it. So I'm just thinking like visually, if it doesn't clip, it just visually moves, so it doesn't look like it's clipping.
Yeah.
And also having consistent explosions, but it's not like hyper.
Potentially, you could do a slow down time mechanic when you're aiming something. That could be a good compromise.
Especially if you're in an arena, like. Area. You
could have the ability to not restart the level from the very beginning. You could have checkpoints potentially. But yeah, that's stop dead.
Okay. Yeah, that's very interesting though.
Next up, we have. Have you ever seen the NoClip documentary series where they have crowdfunded, completely crowdfunded video game documentaries and no adverts in them? They're really good.
I've watched a couple, yeah.
So they have a second channel called NoClip Crew, and basically they said throughout the years of making documentaries, one of the things they've always been interested in, but no one will ever tell them about, is what is the actual process of making a video game and getting published and stuff like that. That's really interesting behind the scenes stuff, right? So they're like, why don't we make a game and then document the series of making the game to figure out like how publishers work, how making a game works, how you get funding and that sort of stuff. So they made a game with the developer Cryptic Sea, who made a game called Sub Rosa, which is like a weird multiplayer heist game, and they made basically this game called Stunt Derby, which is like a throwback to like classic 90s racing games. It has very like heavy, wonky physics.
Yeah. And I'm getting. In my head is kind of what it used to look like without the pixelated alias.
And currently, I've spawned 100 AI cars to race against, and it's absolute chaos.
Well, actually, 100.
Yeah, like 100 cars.
Oh my god.
Let me find my notes on this.
Wait, hang on. You're using a game mechanic that was patented. What the hell?
Oh, the racing arrow.
Yeah.
The patent's died now. It's no longer applicable.
True, but it's just crazy to think about.
So, I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of the drive mechanics for a racing game.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of arcade racing games. I love really forgiving driving, like think like GTA or like old arcade games where you can move around your car in midair, even though the physics of that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Stuff
You're
like
able
that.
to like refocus or
Rather than, I'm not a big fan of like the games that are just trying to simulate driving the actual as good of a simulation of real life driving as possible. I'm not interested in that. I'm just here to play a video game.
Yeah. But to me, this looks great to me though. Like to me, like they're trying to like learn how to drive in the idiosyncrasies of like leaning in like these crazy courses. Looks like a fan. Like it looks like realistic or somewhat realistic driving mechanics, but with like a crazy course. I kind of like that as a combination.
So
like, I like the idea of like learning how to drive these. Like,
the actual like driving itself, I'm not a big fan of. When you turn off 100 bots with all the obstacles on, or if you get 100 real life players, which I'm sure is something that streamers or people are going to be able to, or like a LAN party or something. Yeah. This is when the game really shines. Like this is when it like turns to a chaos, like gang beasts or human full flat game.
Yeah.
I used to play a game called Jelly Racers. That was like an indie game no one's ever heard of, but it was essentially like gang beast cars, and it was hilarious to play. And nobody played it because the game shut down. Like they took the game off Steam, but it was really fun. And I love games like that where it's just about wonky physics and just crazy races with lots of people. So yeah.
No, this is great fun though.
I thought this was pretty fun, and also there was a custom map creator I played as well.
That's
I
cool.
think. Did I show that off? Oh yeah, I built a giant ramp.
You built a giant ramp?
Yeah, I wasn't exactly sure how it worked, and I was like, "Oh, I'll just try and build a giant ramp."
I mean, yeah.
So I'm pulling up the elevation. Here we go.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of the first Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah. It reminds me of like Midtown Madness. That was growing up. Midtown Madness was my favorite racing game. I pray someday they do like a remaster of Midtown Madness and 1 and 2, because those games are fantastic, and they've just done nothing with the games after that point. They're so fun. They were like big open world racing games where you drive around like London and San Francisco, and man, they were really cool. With challenges. Really, really cool. Here's my giant ramp I built. Guys, I'm a map curator in Stunt Derby. And here it is.
You did it.
Kind of overshot the road a little bit. But yeah, that's Stunt Derby. Interesting game. Next up, we have Tagline. Tagline is a sort of like a movement graffiti game, I will say.
Another graffiti game.
It's sort of, imagine Sludge Life, but with faster movement.
And more cleaner aesthetics.
Yeah, the movement feels a bit slow still, I would say. The variety is there, like you can pick up different powers that give you different movement options. But I don't feel like it can really switch quickly between the different power-ups so that you collect them in the open world. And just show, like, it's literally like a more movement, faster-paced Sludge Life. It's like you go into an open world and you're trying to graffiti different things. I don't know why there seems to be a weird resurgence of graffiti games.
Oh, people love graffiti. What do you
mean? Like Jet Set Radio and stuff like that. Some guy wanted me to destroy all of these things with basketballs. So if you suck up the power of the graffiti to change your power-ups.
Oh,
I was like, oh, this
this is
power
a
up
game
pushes
I
you
would
up.
like to play.
This
Actual
power up
mechanics.
lets you dash really, like makes you sprint up and build a really fast charge. The one thing I found was, even though there was a lot of variety, I found a couple that I liked and I didn't really switch between them. I was like, I like these ones and I don't really want to switch between them anymore.
Right.
Ultimately, I thought this game was okay. I wasn't like blown away by it. I think it could do with some more features, more direction. I don't know. I wasn't massively impressed with the movement mechanics in this. It was okay. Not really my favorite.
It looks a bit clunky.
Next up we have Valley Peaks. This is like another climbing game, I will say. But it's more like arcadey climbing, I will say.
Okay.
Try and find my notes for this. It's like a weird mounted climbing platforming. It's got better platforming than Jusant, I will say, because I did not like the platforming in Jusant. But it might be a bit too easy or a bit too cheesy. So I'll just show you. Like, the idea is you sort of like jump up, and then you can grapple on to these things with your arms. And that's sort of how you climb. It's a lot more forgiving, I would say. A lot more...
Yeah.
It feels like... A lot of the time I'm like, am I supposed to be solving it this way? Or am I just cheesing it? And I was like, oh, I don't really care either way.
Yeah, it's just like a... kind of more of a chill...
Yeah, it's more of like a relaxing puzzle game. And then you climb the mountain on certain routes. Like you have like the red route. And then once you've climbed it all the different ways... Okay. Yeah. You unlock a stamp. And I guess that's kind of the progression. I'm not sure what the full progression of this game is. The story is you're putting radios on the top of the mountain so you can communicate with people. But apart from that, it just seems to be like a relaxing climbing game, I guess is the best way to describe it. Mm-hmm. It had decent accessibility options as well, so you could change how you wanted to play the game to make it easier or harder, which I always like to see. And the game looks really good, but I finished a stamp postcard with a different color and the game crashed, and that's where my journey ended because it restarted. It literally said when you load the game, we are not saving your progress. So I was like, well, I played like 12 minutes of the game and then it crashed. So I'm like, I'm not going to play that again, but I kind of got the idea. It seems pretty fun.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, yeah.
Next up, Tony, the next vampire game. Vampire Hunters.
Has to wait an hour and a half to get there.
There's more to come. There's more to come. Vampire Hunters.
Okay.
Can you tell which game this is inspired by? I'll wait to see if you can figure it out. It's got vampire in the name. I'll tell you that much.
No, I'm getting the UI, like the health UI can remind me of a Diablo for some reason.
Okay.
I think just through the round though, I don't think that means anything.
So this game is inspired by a game called Vampire Survivors, where you have to keep moving because there's a giant wall coming up behind you, but you have to collect XP orbs, which then let you buy new guns to add to your gun stack, which then let you shoot these vampire monsters. And eventually your screen just gets filled with guns.
Right, okay. So you're bolting more guns on.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
One of the more annoying things I found though was it's essentially Vampire Survivors but as an FPS, I get it, right?
Yeah.
I always held down the fire button because that's how I play games usually, but some of the weapons are tap fire and some of them are auto fire, so it was really awkward when I wanted to use auto fire weapons, but there was also single fire, so I would have to try and switch between the two. I would like maybe just a charging animation on the single fire and just be able to hold down the button on the auto fire instead.
Yeah.
That seems a lot more natural, and it also helps people with like RSI or stuff like that. Obviously, you could just take only auto fire weapons or only single fire weapons, but I think kind of half the fun of the game is like, oh, I have an AR, I have a laser pistol, I have a bat that flies out and attacks my enemies. Like,
yeah, I think yeah, you're well, you got no health there. I think your solution makes way more sense than just these.
No, the bar in the middle is not your health. The health's on the left. The bar in the middle is your special meter. If you saw there, I just charged forward, and that.
I see. So green. Okay.
Killed a bunch of shit.
Green is health. Red is special. Blue is XP.
Yeah, blue's XP.
Okay.
But I think I got
to the other way around.
I got to the boss, and I got to the end, and he was like, "You can play again." And I was like, "No, I get the idea of this game. I get that if you're looking at this and you go, this looks like something I could play for a long time. I like stuff like Vampire Survivors. This is the game for you." But yeah, it is very much just endless waves of fighting.
Yeah, it was kind of a little bit of fun.
Tony, I told you there was another vampire game.
Oh my god, another one.
Van Hellswing. Do you remember what's that game called? Not the Halloween game with the skulls that you have to kill. How am I blanking on this?
The Halloween game with the skulls you have to kill. Devil Trigger?
Devil Daggers. It's a very much a Devil Daggers game. It is a arena endless shooter where you have to kill bats. But with very cool movement mechanics. So there's wall running, there's shooting the ground. It's like you can shoot the floor as like a knockback.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is very much like Devil Daggers. It is very much just this is the whole game. It is you go into an arena and you fight vampire bats and move around for as long as you can stay alive, sort of thing.
Okay, so this sounds like you're flying. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, this is really cool. Good degraded castle. Hell castle, you could say. Okay, this is cool.
And you have you have a grappling hook.
Oh, okay. So you can. So you can jump with your gun, wall run, and have a grappling hook.
Yeah, but if you fall off the map, you immediately die, so you gotta be careful with how you move around and stuff.
Yeah.
But the main thing I found that I think you want to be doing is just trying to get to these crystals. I don't know if it works like the crystals in Devil Daggers, but I don't know if like your weapons eventually upgrade like in Devil Daggers, but I saw this initially on itch.io and I was like, it looks pretty cool, but I could see myself playing it for like 5 minutes and then kind of like bouncing off it. It seems like one of those games where it's good to play every now and then or just very quickly. I'm personally not a very big fan of arena style stuff. Like I don't like endless stuff. I like stuff that's linear and has endings.
Because I think we've both kind of gone off of like endless roguelikes or roguelites at this point.
Yeah, but I really liked Devil Daggers, so I could see myself playing this in the future, just to mess around and do some cool movement. Sort of similar to that jumping one we were talking about earlier. The Deep Dream Swing. Just fun to piss about for a little bit.
Yeah, and I think I like the aesthetic. Yeah. There should be more to, but yeah, I always like the aesthetic of these things, so.
Yeah, that's Van Hellswing. Devil Daggers with bats and grappling hooks.
Yeah.
Next up we have Viewfinder. I remember seeing the trailer for Viewfinder. I was immediately like, fuck yeah, sign me up. This is F-Stop. The cancelled Portal 2 sequel that Valve was making was essentially going to be a game set in Aperture Science where you would take photos and then you turn those photos into the real world to solve puzzles.
I really like the aesthetic of this, by the way.
We saw later a similar idea was taken in the game Superliminal, which I played and I fucking love that game. And it's cool to see that someone has taken that idea and actually turned it into a full game with the camera mechanics. This is really, really fun. Highly recommend this so far. I love that it's not just a great puzzle game where it's like, oh, there's a great solution to this puzzle. The puzzles are designed in a way where you can kind of solve them in any way you want to, which I really like. There's creativity in the puzzle solving. And, like, I watched a speedrun of Viewfinder and I was like, holy shit, I never thought to do half this stuff. Like, there's really creative ways to...
Dairy Milk Chocolate Bar.
Save the puzzles. The character sounds like they have an English accent. Like, as soon as you see this, it like blows your mind.
That is so trippy. What the hell? That is so cool. Yeah, I'm getting the same, like, blown away, like I have with Superluminal. Like, I'm having the same.
Every level is trying to get to the teleporter to get to the next level, and then you need to use your. Initially, you just have photos, but then eventually you get cameras, where you can take photos of whatever you want to take a photo of to blend reality.
Right.
And it's just like showing you mechanics. This is like, imagine like the cubes in Portal. These are like the batteries
camera.
To power the next viewfinder to get your next teleport. So these are like it has very simple mechanics that get very complicated when you like ramp up all of the different things you need to do.
It's just so hard to like program this. So, like, it seems like an absolute nightmare. I'm so glad they actually managed to do it because it's just such a cool, really cool.
I played this and I finished it in a decent time. I actually played a puzzle game without getting completely stuck on something. It was a good, fun, well-made, good-looking puzzle game. It's a rarity these days.
Yeah.
I never felt like it had like some sort of bullshit mechanic. It felt really well made and paced.
Yeah.
Showing you like you can rotate photos. I want to just put it sideways just to see what would happen.
So you can pick the photo back up or no? Okay.
You can rewind time.
Okay. That's so trippy. I just
Perspective shifting.
Yeah, I like how the photo has like the background, but only that like back. That's so cool. So interesting.
Need to grab a battery to get out of here.
Yeah.
I think it like at one point it just skips you ahead in the story a bit just to be like, oh, and here's what like a later puzzle would look like.
Right. Yeah.
And even then, without like the context, I still was like, oh, I know, roughly what I got to do. This is really cool. It's like, here's a photo of a bridge. Let's just build a bridge.
Oh, that's so good. Oh my god.
Yeah, I can't highly recommend this. Definitely check out the demo if it's still up. Like, I'm definitely going to be playing this game when it comes out.
Yeah.
Looks really, really, really cool.
I think it looks better than I thought it would be, actually, so... That's great.
Like, I like how immediately I was like, oh, I don't get what I'm supposed to do. I'm like, wait a minute. Can I just rotate this and then climb up it?
Oh, I just like glitch, it just destroys the old terrain. That's so good.
Yeah, let's move on. Next up we have Voidborn. Oh, this is the final demo, Tony. We're almost done at the 3-hour mark.
Good. So you say it's Voidborn.
Voidborn, yeah. So this is a shooter roguelite, is the best way to describe this. Roguelite Ultra Kill is probably a good way. It is very like, it reminds me a lot of Ultra Kill. It's very like fast-paced dashing style.
Oh, I can, yeah. I mean, I'm assuming. Okay, right. I was gonna say, like, was it like more like
pixelated?
Like Ultra Kills are very futuristic, right? I assume this is gonna be more magic-y.
Yeah. I was getting.
A gun, so okay.
Yeah, so this is sort of what, like, you have a gun and then you can activate like a dual wielding mode. It's like a power up, and then you have like a fireball you can throw.
Right.
Or you can do like a void dash to get up to different places that you need to. You then have like normal dashes as well to move around. So It kind of reminds me of Boomerang X, where you're like juggling being in the air while shooting enemies, which is always man. I just want a fucking if not
Boomerang
like
2.
yeah, I want more content for Boomerang or like a Boomerang X2. I love that game so much, but it's like criminally short. It's such a good game. I want it. Workshop content. Please give us the ability to make custom content. I want to play more Boomerang. That game is so good.
If more people buy it, they'll have more reason to make more. That's my.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, buy Boomerang X.
Buy Boomerang X. It fucks.
Yeah.
And then eventually, basically, you go through these doors, and you basically like get new power ups. They're very simplistic power ups. They kind of reminded me of like. A little bit like Hades, where you have like basic elements. So you I'm using the Doom power ups, which cause more explosions. I'm using the electrical power ups, which go together to like increase your attack speed and add a bit like of electrical damage.
But you understand.
I mean, Hades gets like very complicated, but it's very simple on its surface.
But the idea is simple to.
Yeah. But yeah, this.
That's good.
I like the atmosphere. It seemed pretty fun. The powers are pretty fun, but they were pretty simple. It was like this gives you more damage. This lets you adds damage over time. Like it's quite a simple game, but it works well in what it does. Right. If you're watching this and you're like, oh, this looks like it could be pretty fun, then this might be the game for you. Yeah. That is the end of. Summer Next Fest 2023, Tony. And if you want to put the favourites timestamp in.
I will.
My favourite lists were On Guard, Mr. Run and Jump, Viewfinder, Loddlenaut, and Dungeon Golf. Was there any that you were like, this is a standout for you?
Ones that you didn't mention.
Yeah. Or any I did mention as well.
Well, I was gonna say, On Guard. I think I want to play even more now than like.
Yeah.
Is it somehow even better than the trailer looked?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a couple here that I want to try myself and see if I gel with it, even when you didn't gel with some of these.
Yeah, I think obviously just because I didn't like a demo doesn't mean you won't like a demo. And there's probably stuff that I loved that you're not going to love.
Yeah, for sure. I think Skator Gator I kind of want to try actually.
Yeah, it's a cool game. Standout one for you.
Yeah, there's another one there, but I think you already mentioned it. So yeah, I think there's I mean there's some gems in there for sure. Like
if you skipped here to the end of the 3-hour video, those are the ones to go back in the timestamps and definitely check out because those ones are really, really cool.
Yeah.
And I will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.